Podmortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are also available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers, free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their multi-award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings, both in person and via Zoom, that were graciously made available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development. Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary, Women in Conversation, is slated for a September release, and we're looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin, joined as always by my co-hosts, my sister and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from the Bramford School, discussing the 2015 supernatural psychological horror film, The Blackcoat's Daughter. This film was written and directed by Osgood Perkins. Drawing inspiration from personal loss and utilizing genre to tell a story of humanistic sadness, The Blackcoat's Daughter offers a bleak and brutal experience for the viewer. With impressive cinematography, compelling performances, a chilling atmosphere, and a twisted tale unveiled through a satisfying slow burn, this film would achieve critical success upon its release, attain cult status through the years, and establish Perkins' signature style in his directorial debut. This film was suggested to us by friends of the show, Carly, Anders M. Tybell, Suze, Allison Regal, Nikki Pook, Brianna Peschel-Cisco, Daniel Taylor, Stephen Junius, Beth Bauer, Scarly D., and Ashay Guevara. We want to thank each and every one of them for their continued support of the show, as well as this suggestion. So, The Blackcoat's Daughter. What were your first impressions on the film?
So this was the first time watch for me. I know I've heard talk about it before. I will be honest. I thought this was like a period piece, and it's not. I was a little disappointed because of that. I really was like, oh, we're going to go back in time or whatever, and we didn't. But what the movie does, I really did enjoy a lot of things that were going on in the movie. For me, I don't know. I think it could have been just a little shorter, but I mean, it did. Everybody did what they're supposed to do. I do think that it's. I don't know if bleak is the word. Is
yes,
I think it is. Yeah,
because it does hit a certain feeling, and it's just like, oh wow. But yeah, no, I would definitely recommend anybody to watch it. I don't think it was something that really fit into my style of movies that I'm into. But I mean, I could see why people would really enjoy this movie.
This was a first time watch for me as well. And honestly, I also thought that it was a period piece. And we start seeing modern stuff almost immediately. And so I was like, okay, I was I was very wrong. But the title, you know what I mean? I think the performances in this are really, really excellent. And I think with a film like this, they have to be, even though one of the main cast members I'm not a fan of, even she does a really, she brings it.
Yeah.
I just have to throw that.
No, I know. And we'll probably talk about it again later.
We will. But no, I think that, and I can see why you would say that you would want it to be a little bit shorter. But for me, I don't agree because I am a fan of that slow burn.
Right.
And as somebody who's like, well, where's it going? Well, what does that mean? Well, blah, blah. Like, because I'm constantly, when I'm watching a movie, especially a movie like this, it gives me more time to, oh, no, wait. No, I think this is what's happening. And I did that this whole movie. The whole movie, part of the time I was confused, part of the time I was sure, and then something else would happen, and I'm like, oh, I was completely wrong. Like,
yeah.
I think that it's just a really interesting journey that the film takes you on. And we were talking about how surprising it is that this is his first feature film.
Yeah.
Because of just how competent and confident it is.
Yeah.
Very sure of itself, even though he's got to know this is not a film for everyone. And it's still, I think that he executes it so masterfully. And I watched the whole thing. It's surprisingly short, but it creeps. I don't know how to explain it, but I watched it and I finished it and I was like, oh, wow. And I'm sitting there as the credits are going and I'm like, oh, what? Like the ending actually sunk in after.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is incredibly fucking sad.
But it
even
does,
sadder than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It does go with like what I'm saying. I would have liked it to be a little shorter, maybe because I felt that creep.
It does creep. It is definitely a slow burn, but I really enjoyed it. It's one of those movies for me that I was like, oh, that was good. And then it has slowly kind of like bloomed further in my brain. And I'm like, I actually like that more than I thought I did. I gushed a lot on Longlegs about how much I loved, everything that he did there. There are a few visuals that are very reminiscent.
Yes. There are conversations within the horror community as a whole connecting possibly The Blackcoat's Daughter and Longlegs, one potentially being a prequel because of all that thematic overlap.
I'm not surprised because I was like, what are we doing? What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, but I need Nicolas Cage if we're gonna.
That comes later or before, whatever. But
he's gonna make a cinematic universe.
Hey, I'm here for it. But no, I really
SIN cinematic.
That's good. I really enjoyed it. It stayed with me, and I ended up thinking about it more than I thought I would at first glance. I liked it a lot.
No, I could not agree more. The first time I watched this film, I believe it was like 2018 or 2019 or something. And I will admit, I did not give it the proper attention that it deserved. And so I came away from the film kind of feeling a bit underwhelmed.
Okay.
Not necessarily unimpressed because I like the style of it, but then I just didn't really think about it very much after that.
Yeah.
But Jules and I were talking whenever I said that I was going to be preparing for this episode, and I had just started my script like the first few minutes, and I could already tell just from the opening that I did not give it a fair shake when I saw it the first time.
Okay.
And so we were talking, and we both agree that this is kind of the case, this film, for revisiting films that you once felt lukewarm about.
Okay.
Because coming back to this one upon a second viewing, I really, really liked it. And then the more time I have away from it, I realize I love this movie.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think that it might be my favorite Oz Perkins film.
Oh, wow.
I think there's something really special about it that, I don't know, something about it to me might put it above Longlegs even.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I will stand alone.
Those are long
That's
legs.
okay.
Yeah. And it rises above them.
He put something in Longlegs that
No, it's very special,
specifically
too.
hooked me. I don't know.
I think that and we're not talking about Longlegs. So
Can we?
we've done that before. But no, I think that this film just really balances so much because there is something really dark and frightening at its center. But at the same time, there's also something really tangible, really relatable, and really tragic about it.
Yeah.
I was so moved by portions of it that it really shocked me. And I was legitimately so scared by portions of it that it really shocked me. I was working on the script at like 3 a.m. and it got to
Don't
a
do
point.
that.
No, you should
Don't
do
do
that.
that.
I was like, and I think that it is just a credit to the way that he builds tension in a scene.
Okay.
Because sometimes something happens and sometimes nothing happens.
Yeah.
But you still feel the fear of the potential of what could be there.
Right.
And I felt the same way about Longlegs at certain points. But in this film, I was literally working on my script, and then it was getting to a point that I was like, all right, this might be too much for this late hour.
Should probably call
I'm
it
going to go to
here.
bed,
Yeah.
come back in the morning when it's bright outside.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. But I think that that's just, I mean, when you look at the film, the vibe and the atmosphere of it, it is so perfect for kind of what I look for in that wintry horror film.
Okay.
It's got that cold palette, the atmosphere of it. There's a lot of other films that you can tell influenced his aesthetic, but there are so many things about it that are just wholly his own that you do see carry through to Longlegs.
Right.
Yeah.
And other films in his filmography. But I really appreciate the very methodical cinematography. I think that the use of these liminal spaces at this school are fantastic. The shot compositions that reveal so much in certain contexts and kind of hide things in another until it's recontextualized later.
Right.
And that for me as well, I think that this film really rewards you on a second or even a third viewing because you kind of see all the pieces that were they've been there this whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does take kind of a review to look back at it and say, oh, they were just telling us.
Yeah.
We just didn't know
it's
it
wild.
yet.
Right.
But I also am a big fan of nonlinear narratives.
Yes.
And the way that this one is used is really interesting.
It is.
It's sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't even realize until way later that that's what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to call out the score. Those atmospheric like soundscapes, the sound design, the way that sometimes it does feel a bit stereotypical horror, and then other times it's like, oh, this is just eerie as all hell.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really impeccable work. I think that seeing it unfold the way that it does, I haven't been this impressed by a film in a while.
Okay.
And I also really appreciate the brutality of certain scenes.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
Because I
It's
feel
so jarring
it is.
because we've been like kind of like simmering for so long that when it starts to boil, you're like, God damn.
Yeah, and I think that that's done so well for me. That's just what I wanted. I was
Right.
like, that raw emotion, that whatever's happening there, that's what I wanted the whole time.
I think for me, the fact that it isn't all the time is
That's
what makes it
yeah.
impactful.
But and it's so grounded in realism. It's not like this like ultra violent like
Right,
over the
right,
top.
yeah.
That's what makes it so like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Like
And for
it's
a lot
rough.
of it, you're there the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's just something very, very remarkable. And again, like you had said, for this to be your debut feature, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But before we dive into this film, I do want to talk a little bit about the production of it. I have a list of sources that I will be citing for this portion as well as throughout the episode, and these include interviews with Osgood Perkins from The Gate magazine, No Film School, and the AV Club, articles in Dread Central and Bloody Disgusting, a making-of featurette called The Dead of Winter, and the director's commentary with Osgood Perkins.
Okay.
So the story of the Blackcoat's daughter actually begins in 2012, when after a, quote, brief stint, as he describes it, as an actor, Osgood Perkins realizes that he's ready to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a filmmaker. He admitted in an interview that he never really saw himself as an actor, never having taken it seriously, and considered himself to not be very good at it.
Okay.
But with a couple of co-writing credits under his belt, he decided that it was finally time to craft his own original feature film. In preparation of doing so, Perkins thought of the films that affected him the most throughout his life, and this includes The Shining, Carrie, Rosemary's Baby, and Don't Look Now, which I think you can kind of see the threads of all of those films in The Blackcoat's Daughter.
Yeah.
But he said that these were all the kinds of films that he would watch when he was younger and wished that he had made. realizing that they all shared common traits which made each of them so appealing to him. They were stylish, chancy, emotional, dealing with the unknown, and things that we don't see that hide beneath the surface. And so he recognized at the time what he saw as redundancy and derivation in the mainstream horror films that were being released. And so he wanted to follow the example of these older films that he loved so much, rather than just follow the formula of successful contemporary films that he was seeing.
Okay.
So rather than simply rely on genre conventions, Perkins wanted to use the horror genre as a vehicle to tell a humanistically sad story about loneliness and loss.
Huh.
So this obviously is not a new concept, as the horror genre since its very inception has been a vessel to tell stories that are very rich with thematic potency, emotionality, social commentary, and political statements.
Yeah.
But I did want to make mention of the way that he described this process because I found it very interesting and I've never heard it put this way before.
Okay.
Perkins described the process as a Trojan horse for the audience. He said you could utilize genre conventions to engage people and get them interested, which would allow him to subvert their expectations of what they're seeing. So once the audience accepts these genre ideas that they're already very familiar with, the film can make its way through those metaphorical gates, and only then can the real intent of the film pile out, so to speak.
Okay.
Makes sense, yeah.
And again, I know that this is a concept that is very familiar, but just the way that he put that, I was like, that is a very interesting way to imagine it.
Yeah.
But also in the writing process, Perkins found that he was much less interested in plot structure and conventional beats, and far more interested in mood, tone, atmosphere, and simply being observational.
Okay.
And so the decision to couch the film in genre allowed him to kind of maintain a boundary around his ideas so that the film could be palatable and not become too ambiguous for his audience.
Okay.
He did have a funny way of putting it on the commentary, because he had said that the use of these genre conventions can continue to give you this buy-in from the audience. And he's like, if you don't do that, then the artist is really just exercising himself. He goes, that's a euphemism for, I was like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying.
We got
it. But once his screenplay was completed, Perkins and his reps were incredibly proud of it. And they were very confident that they could get it financed, so they started showing it around Hollywood. But Perkins was constantly met with the same reaction of studio executives telling him, this is amazing, and we love it, but we can never make something like this.
Why?
I guess it was just the style of the narrative they found too difficult to appeal to a mainstream audience.
Because we're
Okay.
dumb.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's always what it comes down
Yes,
to. We're too
yeah.
dumb to understand, so we can't make it.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
sadly. But he said that he got the vibe that they would have gladly financed it if he had written something that was simpler and easier to digest.
No, I'm sure.
So rather than compromise his vision, he decided to continue to shop it around, and eventually the screenplay did land on the desk of people who did understand what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And these people were Brian Bertino, the director of The Strangers, and his producing partner, Adrian Biddle.
Okay. What? Okay.
Yeah. So they read it, they fall in love with it, and they bring in another producer called Rob Paris, who suggests that they finance the film with foreign pre-sales. And this is basically to say that they sell the distribution rights to international markets before the film has even been made.
Okay.
The difficult part of doing this is that you have to find a way to make this film, this unmade film, appealing to the distributors you're selling it to.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds like a huge gamble.
Yeah.
It kind of is, and especially if you're dealing with Osgood Perkins, who has never made a film
First
before.
time,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And so he knows that he has the strength of this screenplay, but he doesn't really have much else to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a reel to show them to say, well, I made this. And so the only thing that they could think to do is attach bankable stars to give the film more value to these distributors.
Okay.
And that's where the leads were cast in the film.
Right.
And it was just as simple as that, because as soon as he cast them, the distributor's idea and perception of the film increased.
Yeah.
And so from that, the production was given the bulk of its budget. And that process sounds kind of quick on paper, but that whole thing, from Bertino and Biddle and Paris appreciating the screenplay and wanting to sell it this way to eventually selling it, took a total of 4 years.
Woo!
God damn.
But with everything finally in order, they would shoot the film in Kemptville, Ontario, outside of Ottawa, over the course of 23 days in February 2015.
Damn.
Not a lot of time.
No.
And not a lot of money that was given to them for the production either. But it was also the coldest February on record in 35 years.
Of course it was.
So you've got minimal prep time, frigid temperatures, and a first-time director.
Yeah.
So Perkins, whenever they were going through everything, he was just focused on getting everything done, turning it in on time, and finishing it in the way that he hoped that he would. Unfortunately, whenever they enter post-production, Perkins had not watched any of his dailies at all. And so he really didn't know exactly what he had. And he lamented this lack of time, lack of money going into the project, and he thought that the whole thing might turn out to be a complete disaster. But he brings it back to Los Angeles for the edit, and it isn't until the film is complete with proper sound, score, and color timing that he finally feels like he can breathe.
Okay.
Which is very sad because this is, 5 years of his life that he's
Yeah.
tied into this, and then he's unsure if it's even going to be worth anything. But the good news is that the film premieres at Toronto International Film Festival in 2015, where it is very well received and promptly scooped up by A24.
Okay.
The bad news is that it would be immediately shelved for 2 years. And this is when it falls into a limbo of what Perkins would call uninteresting business and slowed down bullshit, because the distributors had no idea how to market this film. And so it was scheduled for release several times over these 2 years, only to be removed from the schedule again and again because they didn't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It finally lands on VOD and is given a limited theatrical release in March of 2017. So, oddly, The Blackcoat's Daughter ended up being released in theaters after Perkins' second debut, second feature debuted on Netflix.
Yeah.
There's a film called I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. I don't know if it was inspired by Fall Out Boy titles or something.
It's long.
It's a lot of words.
Yeah.
We have requests for that.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I didn't even know that was
anything
him.
about that.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of that title. Because how do you not remember that?
But when it's finally released, it's well received by critics and audiences alike, and it gains kind of a cult following over the years despite a kind of poor box office performance.
Mm-hmm.
And along with other films of its ilk at the time, it kind of helped to usher in a new wave of art house horror. I understand a lot of people call it elevated horror.
Yeah,
but
we don't.
I would love to stop using that.
Yeah.
Now, before we sacrifice this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, let's bow before the furnace. So the film begins with the opening credits, thin cyan text against the black background, which are accompanied by twinkling bells, the low rumble of a stringed instrument, and the eerie echoing vocals of a lamentful lullaby. Deedle, deedle, Blackcoat's daughter, what was in the holy water? Gone to bed on an unclean head, the angels, they forgot her.
I'm going to go to the store.
The low tones of the score swell, and we get the title, The Blackcoat's Daughter. So, yes, this lullaby is terrifying.
Yeah.
I do want to say this lullaby is the work of Elvis Perkins, who is the composer of the film, Osgood's brother.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very interestingly, this, of course, is Osgood's directorial debut, but this is also the first film that Elvis Perkins ever scored.
Oh, damn.
They're both naturals.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
I was so surprised to learn that. I guess he was a successful singer-songwriter, and Osgood just knew that he would be perfect for this film. And he had said it so interestingly. He said, it had always been a dream of his to incorporate this rich sort of weirdness and humor in what he does, with the rich sort of weirdness and humor of what Elvis does. And it's just cool that these brothers get to share this experience together.
Yeah.
But he had said that, I guess, because he had never scored a film before, he had to really vouch for Elvis to the producers. And then the producers joined Osgood in going out on a limb for his brother so they could both be a part of the project.
Okay.
But I think, honestly, his score is one of the strengths of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And this lullaby, firstly, is just really good and really eerie in the way that it sounds. I thought it was an elderly woman singing it, and it was like lending to this like old kind of witch, like fairy tale kind of a thing.
Okay.
But it is Elvis Perkins' voice pitched up.
Oh, it works.
It does.
Yeah.
But we find ourselves lingering at the bedside of Catherine, a teenage girl played by Kiernan Shipka, who rests sleeping beneath her blankets, the morning light cast through the sheer drapes of her window, and her hands clasped together in seeming prayer.
Kiernan Shipka. I know you guys know her from Mad Men.
Yes.
There's been 89 episodes of that.
Sally.
Yeah. She was also in Carriers in 09 and Long Legs. We did that too in 2024.
And in that Sabrina reboot.
That's right.
right.
That's right.
I still need to watch that, but
Yeah.
people like love it.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
Yeah. I loved the old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Salem. And
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
whatnot.
I think Kiernan Shipka is so good in this.
Yeah.
Like, not that, because I think that she's really good in Mad Men as well,
Mm-hmm.
but there is something really subtle about a lot of moments in this film, and she just plays everything so perfectly.
Right.
But it's like I was saying at the top, without these performances, I feel like this would kind of fall apart because as slowly as this moves along, so much depends on that, on you buying in to what they're experiencing. And she kills it.
Yeah. Like I said, everybody does what they're supposed to do.
Yes. And you're more right than you know, Nate. But we drift into Kat's dream, suddenly surveying a sunlit winter landscape, tall trees forming a distant and jagged shadow at the horizon as we slowly glide over a frozen lake, coasting closer and closer to a mound of pristine snow. But as Kat slumbers in her bed, a figure clad all in black clicks its way across her bedroom floor, stopping to stand and stare at the sleeping girl until she stirs awake. The figure's silhouette darkens the frame down its center as Kat sits up, the score humming hauntingly as she gazes upward, intoning in muted surprise. "Daddy, you came early." So whoever this is, he's arguably a better father than Don Draper.
We're moving up.
But Kat then finds herself in her snowy subconscious, dressed proper for the weather in a blue pea coat, her brows furrowed beneath a yellow beanie as she stares off into the distance. So I have something for this that is very surprising that I found in my research, and it's the second film that I've written a script for that this has come up, but Kat's outfit in these dream sequences right here are inspired by the outfit worn by Madeline in those children's books.
I love it.
Yeah. I guess it was a very big influence on Osgood Perkins because the books end with a line something like, "and that's all there is, and there is no more," or something like that. And that's how he ends this screenplay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Which, when you get to that final scene, it takes on a much more tragic connotation.
Where's Clifford at? That dude wasn't. I mean,
Madeline
fuck's
was
right- hold on,
Madeline was
hold on.
better than Clifford.
he was a dog, though.
But isn't he just big? Like,
was
does he have
cute.
anything?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you are fucking our shit up. We can't keep affording to feed you either.
Oh, yeah. In this economy?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Clifford was a time and a place.
2025 is not it.
No. But as the camera creeps across the ice, inching closer and closer to the horizon, Kat is still fast asleep in bed, her left hand now raised at the side of her face. On second viewing, I didn't know if this was kind of that inversion of what you see in a lot of Christian paintings where the right hand is raised and you get the Holy Trinity.
I will say that I know it came before, but it did remind me of Hereditary.
I get that.
So maybe.
But as Kat makes her way over the lake, she's joined by the phantom figure, still clad in dark clothes, its tattered scarf whipping in the wicked wind. Kat inquires, "Daddy, where's the car?" And peering over her shoulder, we see it in a blur, a look of horror suddenly resting on Kat's face as she whimpers, "Mommy?" And there, parked in front of a mountain of snow, is the wreckage of their car, blood smeared across the drab metal, air hissing from beneath its crumpled front end, and fluids flowing freely across the ground as a loud static screeches, and we dip to black.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This was a lot.
Yeah.
But also my takeaway was, this isn't the 1800s?
No.
Yeah.
This isn't like a horse-drawn
Quickly,
carriage,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Well, that's a motor vehicle.
So I'm incorrect.
So for me, I was like, is this a dream or a memory?
Right.
Right.
And I think that there is a lot of kind of ambiguity at the beginning with stuff like this, and kind of throughout, because you are kind of trying to solve a puzzle as it goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the same thing. But Kat rises in the darkness of her bedroom, standing silhouetted against the pale winter through her window. She turns to face a calendar pinned to a bulletin board across the room, walking over to it. On it, we see that each day in the month of February is slashed through with a red X, denoting its passing. And with the squeak of her marker, Kat puts February 21st behind her as well. Her eyes then hover over the small white square of February 22nd, which houses the drawing of a heart, and at its center are the words, "Mom and Dad, here." She stares in seeming disbelief, her eyes glistening in the soft light of the morning. So I feel like now is as good a place as any to talk about the title of this film, because during production, when Osgood Perkins wrote the screenplay all the way through to it being picked up by A24, this film was called February.
Okay. I wondered why every time I kept going on Amazon, it was telling me, I was like, it's not fucking
Really?
February.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's Blackcoat's daughter. But every time I would go to it, it said February at the top. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
And it's very interesting because I think it was only on Netflix in the UK that it was released as February.
Okay.
So when that kept popping up, I was like, how the fuck are you doing that? Like, I don't know how that's going on. It happened every time.
Yeah, every single time.
But the idea of the film being called February, it was born from Osgood Perkins' idea that you can revisit a time of year in the same way that you revisit a place or a house that you used to live in. He said that a month or a season can elicit a certain response in a person, which is true for anyone who has ever had a negative anniversary on a calendar. He had said for himself, and it's very, very tragic, that September is that month for him.
Okay.
Because in different years, that's the month that he lost both of his parents.
Okay.
Anthony Perkins passing away on September 12th in 1992, and Barry Berenson passing away on September 11th in the terrorist attacks.
Jesus Christ.
And so he said that to visit September to him is as potent as visiting a cemetery.
Okay.
But when A24 bought it, they did not like the title, which is so frustrating to me because it's so personal.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And it has such meaning. But what they said is that they immediately wanted to change it so that it would be more indicative of the genre that it was a part of. And so they suggested to him, why don't we call it When the Dark Calls?
Fuck you.
And that was Osgood Perkins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, that's terrible. And so he went through the entire film himself, and it was through Elvis's lullaby at the beginning that he got the Blackcoat's daughter.
Okay.
And he thought that it could be kind of an ambiguous thing because it's like the Blackcoat's daughter. Is it the daughter of a priest? Is it the daughter of the devil? You don't know.
Yeah.
See, okay, because in my mind I was thinking like a blacksmith or something. Like I'm thinking like cobblestones and horses,
or like
and
old
yes,
soldier.
Lord, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is gonna be a period piece. That's exactly what I thought, like you said. And so after I finished it, I was like, well, then who the hell is the Blackcoat?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, is it Satan? I told John Paul that today.
But it's hot in hell. He doesn't need a jacket.
He doesn't.
Well, but
when he comes to Earth,
Yeah,
it's
dude, it's
freezing
cold
for
as
him.
hell. Well, not
hold
really.
on. Yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah, I was like trying to decipher what it meant, and that was my interpretation of it. But I think that if they're both kind of ambiguous titles,
Yeah.
and if they're both ambiguous and nothing is very on the nose, then why don't we go with the one that the creator intended?
Yeah.
I kind of think February's better. I mean, the Blackcoat's daughter has intrigue, but when you watch it, you're like, what the hell did that mean?
Yeah, I do feel like February, it would have been fine.
And then when
That's
you see
fine.
the calendar at the beginning,
It
you're like,
says-
oh shit, some shit's about to pop off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, I know.
Let the artists
Yeah.
have the things that they created the way that they want. How many times do we have to say this?
I don't know.
I don't understand. In A24, I expected better from you.
Honestly, what the fuck?
I think now they'd be like, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah.
But sometime later, Kat stands outside of an administrator's office, dressed properly in her school uniform. Dawn, a secretary played by Rose Gagnon, calls out to Father Brian, played by Greg Elwand, politely alerting him of Kat's arrival. There was something funny that Osgood Perkins said about Greg Elwand, and we get a good performance from him later in a very surprising scene that I can't even believe is the film.
Yeah.
But I guess that he was a Canadian actor that went to the premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival, and he said that whenever he showed up, Perkins, Greg Elwand was there, and he had baked him a loaf of bread to give to him as a gift. And so Perkins was like, and then I was there at TIFF just carrying around a loaf of bread the whole time. It was delicious, by the way. It's like, that's just so sweet.
Yeah.
But Father Brian sits behind his desk, shuffling his work out of the way as he invites Kat inside. The young woman offers him a smile as she takes a seat across from him, and Father Brian stands to greet her, a crucifix hanging on the wall over his shoulder as he sets his Bible down atop his paperwork. Father Brian excuses Dawn from the room before addressing Kat, noting that he hears from a Mr. Walsh that her recital is coming along very nicely. As he returns to his seat, he expresses his regret that he won't be able to attend the recital, but he adds that he's sure that Kat will enjoy performing for her friends and her parents all the same. Kat's smile softens just a smidge as she inquires where Father Brian is going, learning that he has some personal business in Albany that he needs to take care of. Probably steamed hams related.
That's all they do up there,
Yeah.
so for sure.
It's a regional dialect. But Kat wonders how long it even takes to get to Albany, with Father Brian telling her that it'll be a couple of hours by train. Kat understands that this means it would take about the same time to get back then. And with this response, the tone in the room seems to shift, Father Brian earnestly asking Kat if she's concerned about something. Kat assures him that she isn't, but she just says that she wishes that he could stay and see her performance. That's all. On its face, there's nothing wrong with what she just said.
No, but the way
But-
she said
Yeah.
there's something fucking weird. It's weird.
Especially just I don't know, and it's also the word choice too.
It's that's what rang my alarm.
Yeah.
Was like, why did you say it that way?
But Father Brian apologizes, regretful that this time it just can't be helped. Kat glances away from him, asking when he thinks he'll be back, and Father Brian supposes that it'll be after the break, just like everyone else. But Kat's eyes linger at the far corner of the room, in the direction of a tall, dark filing cabinet, a small smile settling at her lips as she sits there silently.
Kat, go to your room.
Yeah.
No recital for you.
No, you're grounded for the break.
There's something wrong.
Father Brian takes notice of this, hesitating a moment before asking her if she finds something funny. Kat returns her attention to him, puzzled, and when he tells her that she was just smiling just now, Kat denies this, growing a bit defensive as her eyes search for an excuse. But calmness returns to her as she sets her gaze at Father Brian, telling him that she was just thinking of saying that she hopes he has a fun time in Albany. And in retrospect, this scene, it's so small, but it's actually really sad when you recontextualize it.
Yeah.
What it actually means for Kat right now. And it's wild to me that Father Brian's like, well, I guess I'll still go to Albany. Like, I don't know how you have this conversation and you're like, well, my plans aren't changing.
Yeah. Well,
He said some things can't be helped.
But an atmospheric sound overtakes us like ambient wind as we dip to black, returning to glide over the paint-chipped frame of a doorway. Everything slows down as Rose, played by Lucy Boynton, enters the room, crossing past her gathered classmates with slick strums of guitar and dreamlike keys punctuating her every step.
I loved the music here.
Yes.
Lucy Boynton, she was in Miss Potter in 2006, Bohemian Rhapsody in 2018, and Barbie in 2023.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that she is so fantastic in this film.
Yes.
I love Rose.
Yeah.
I will be honest. I do like her character a lot.
No, I really do too. I think because John Paul, you and I were talking off mic earlier, and you said that she's like a very relatable in comparison to all the other things that are going on around her. It's like, I'm going to be quiet now. We'll talk more later.
But Rose makes her way past a photographer to settle into a seat in front of a bright blue backdrop splotched with white clouds, smoothing the fabric of her uniform as she tussles her hair and lifts her head to present a bright smile for the camera. The shutter clicks, and we dip to black. But we find Rose sometime later, dressed in more comfortable clothes, her hair tied up in a messy bun as she brushes her teeth at the sink of a communal bathroom. When another student departs, she's left all alone in the room, offering her reflection a lingering look as her name appears in cyan at the center of the screen. Rose.
I love stuff like this.
Me too.
I don't know. I think it might be from loving the faculty from such a young age. But when we stop and do the name thing, or like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, Rose, okay. Like I'm in. I'm locked in.
And I get it, and I think because of the MTV era, I don't.
You don't?
No. It's like I seen it all the time growing up. I was like, no more. But boarding school is what I'm getting here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's always you hear bad things.
I can't tell if it's just a Catholic school or if it's, I don't know.
I was just guessing because
it seems
we're
like
here.
a boarding school because they have dorms and they're leaving for break. So that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Like their parents brought them and they're coming to take them home.
Yeah.
Is my terminology just wrong because I associate the phrase like boarding school with like a military school, like a punishment?
I don't know if I think that I thought it was like a rich thing.
Right.
Where it is
I do
like,
not know this.
That's why we don't know.
Yes, exactly. This is why we're so confused.
But they board them.
Yeah.
Like they live there and then they go to school.
Oh, like room and board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not in trouble. Well, she will be.
At this present moment.
Right now.
Yes.
She's just a teenager going to school, man.
I did want to say something about the names on the screen.
Yes.
Because I think that it is something for me. I'm really, honestly, I know I have my nitpicks all the time with different films, but I'm very easy to please and very easy to get intrigued in something.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see something like this, I feel how deliberate something is from the filmmaker.
Okay.
Because it's like we are breaking things into pieces, like chapters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that a lot.
Okay. I think it's, like I said, just the real world ruined
No,
it.
I gotcha.
So it's like, I don't.
God damn you,
my
real
age,
world.
Yeah, my age is showing.
But shortly afterward, Rose sits at the edge of an examination table in the nurse's office, a thermometer sticking from her mouth. Mrs. Prescott, played by Elena Krause, stands in front of her, removing the instrument from her lips as she inquires about Rose's supposed headache. Rose confirms the ailment, adding weakly that her throat hurts a little too when she swallows. Mrs. Drake, played by Heather Todd Mitchell, stands blurry in the background as Mrs. Prescott offers her sympathies, suggesting that it would be such a shame for Rose to be sick over the break. Rose agrees, And after Mrs. Prescott steps away, Mrs. Drake steps forward, offering Rose a small cup of medicine and a white paper cone of water to take it with. Rose promptly does as told. And not knowing exactly where this film is going yet, Prescott and Drake are giving me the creeps.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they're dressed like 100 years back.
They're in a period.
Yes,
piece.
exactly. Like, we got the wrong memo. You said the Blackcoat's daughter?
Yeah.
I could have sworn. This isn't a Robert Eggers situation. But we then cut to Rose, seated at the window of her dorm with Lizzie, played by Emma Holzer. A cigarette burns between Rose's fingers, the smoke hovering above an ashtray and her blue lighter on the sill as she asks her friend, "So you really think I should tell him?" Lizzie answers that of course she has to tell him. After all, it's like half his. It's half his problem. When Rose disagrees, Lizzie insists that it should be. She's adamant that he's the one who got Rose into this situation in the first place. He knew exactly what he was doing. But Rose counters, like I didn't? She reminds Lizzie that he was doing it to her, and she was liking it. Lizzie just exhales a laugh, with Rose softly scolding her not to laugh because it's so not funny. But crushing her cigarette against its spent siblings in the ashtray, Rose confidently asserts that it's only been 4 days, though. She could still get it. Lizzie, however, curiously inquires if Rose is going to tell her parents, and Rose just sighs, shaking her head slightly as she sits silently, clearly uncertain.
I love that this is an issue, a thing that's happening throughout the film. And we never explicitly say what's happening, but we know every conversation. We know what the result was. We know what they're talking about. I just thought that was really clever because I don't know. I think that in a lot of other films, we would kind of be beaten over the head with what's going on, but we don't need any more than what's said, even later on, or even reactions to things. It's like, oh, I know what happened.
I think that's why I did enjoy Rose's character, because it is a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not you telling me, like you said, beating us over the head with them, being like, remember this? Remember this?
Exactly.
And it's like, no, if you're paying attention, you already know.
It's just like she's navigating the situation and we're just kind of watching.
Yeah.
And I this is an all girls boarding school, it appears. And so I was kind of preparing myself to go somewhere dark with what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but I was pleasantly surprised that that's not what we're doing.
Right.
But
And to your point about the way that this is written with the dialogue, that was something that Perkins talked about on commentary. He said that he didn't want to put too much into this scene and make it obvious and melodramatic. And so he said if we talk around what we're talking about, it'll kind of feel more natural in this like lived in conversation.
yeah.
And it does.
And I appreciate that a
Yeah.
lot. Because I mean, she doesn't even say period.
Nope.
She
Yeah.
doesn't say anything, but she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But sometime later, Rose is seated among a sea of students in an auditorium where Mr. Gordon, played by Peter James Hayworth, presides on a stage in front of them. Rose faces forward, resting wearily against her hand, with a turquoise ring decorating her finger. So this is twice now, maybe 3 times actually, that we have seen Rose associated with this bright blue color.
Yeah.
You have her at the backdrop of the school photo, you have the lighter that was on the windowsill, and now this ring that's on her finger. And Osgood Perkins talked about this kind of being a symbol for Rose and her character in the narrative. It's supposed to signify, I'll say part of it now and the other part later.
Okay.
Part of it now is her innocence as a human being in what happens going forward.
Okay.
But there's also more to that we can't talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
But what he called it on the commentary was a secret blue.
Okay.
And so throughout the film, in various points, different scenes, different characters and situations that Rose may not even be a part of directly, we get this secret blue hovering somewhere within the frame.
Okay.
And so it's almost like once we get to a certain point that she is pervading certain aspects of the film that you don't realize yet until it's made apparent.
Got it.
Okay.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Gordon waxes on, acknowledging the students' excitement for the arrival of their parents, to give them a tour of the classrooms and share their lives at Bramford with them. But he reminds them that that doesn't mean there will be any changes when it comes to conduct expectations.
Ugh.
I know.
Boring.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
It's like, can we
dude.
go on vacation now?
Yeah, no
Literally.
shit.
It's like, we can't have anything good. It's like, yeah, we're all very excited, but you better.
Yeah, you
still-
better not be
Swear to
excited.
God. But Gordon explains that conduct is even more important today, as they'll be here representing Bramford, each of the students representing all of the young women who came before them and all that will follow them after they've moved on. He asks the crowd if this sounds good, and everyone, including Rose, absently echoes, "Sounds good." But Gordon continues that if he doesn't see them before they leave, have a great week off, and that they'll see everyone back at school on the 22nd. I will say that that is what it says on the subtitles. His voice kind of fades out as he's talking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that makes sense because I believe today is the 22nd. So that might be why they faded him out, because they're like, that.
Yeah.
We fucked up.
Maybe they leave for a month.
Maybe, hell yeah, dude.
Pretty sure he says a week, but you know.
But we then find ourselves outside, settling on the road carved through the snow, vehicles traveling on it, and past the tiered red brick sign of the Bramford School, parents arriving as promised. So, the Bramford School, it is a reference to the Bramford apartment building in Rosemary's Baby,
Okay.
Oh.
which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the camera presses in from above, through skeletal trees picked clean of their leaves by the cold, where a cheerful crowd of reunited relatives proceed down a long path. But wading through them and headed in the opposite direction is the solitary Cat, who reaches the road past the gate, a tear spilling down her cheek as she gazes off into the distance, patiently awaiting the sight of a familiar vehicle that never appears. So I really love the cinematography of this film, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. I mean, like a little bit later. There's not much to tell. But I think that there is such a cool moment here where we spy the entire group through the trees. You see Kat moving against them. They're all together. She's all alone. And then she's centered in this road of just nothing.
Yeah.
And it is just, I don't know, the way that they're selling all that it needs to be told through the framing and the blocking without any dialogue or anything. You get everything that's happening, and it's just so sad.
Yeah. I did like that shot because I did notice that too. And I was like, well, why is she by herself? Oh, where are you going? I was like, well, what's happening?
Yeah.
I don't think she wants to believe what her premonition seems to have been.
Yeah.
Or what she knows.
Yeah. But keeping in line with the preceding parents and children is Rose, who joins the group piling into the auditorium. But before she can, Lizzie steps away from her folks, calling out to her friend and asking where she's going. Huddled in her winter coat, Rose answers that she's going to check out some of the performance. Lizzie then checks in with Rose to make sure that she's all right, with Rose assuring her that she's just fine. But Lizzie wonders, where are Rose's parents? And Rose responds that they're waiting inside, suggesting that she better go. Lizzie understands, bidding her friend a kind goodbye until next week, and Rose offers a smile and a gentle wave of her black-gloved hand before joining the others inside the auditorium. Another moment that is very sad in retrospect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would have too. I would have been like, look, dude, if we're able to go tell your folks to get out of here and start your vacation early.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for sitting and supporting her. Just be like, hey, you did a good job. Okay, let's go. Like, we got
But from outside, we can hear Kat's melody echoing through the speakers, and we find her seated at a piano on stage, her fingers coaxing the chords of a woeful waltz as her voice pleasantly reverberates through the room. Rose gathers with her classmates at the back wall, watching from a distance as Kat croons. She wore her hair around her neck, at the foot of the bed where the lower things crept, 'neath a sea of white roses her husband kept, into the black night. Thematically,
Yeah.
It's a little day, man.
she just needs the choreography.
Yes. But it's good.
It's very good. Kat then hesitates a moment, glancing out into the audience, who watches her, eagerly awaiting the continuation of her song, which she soon provides. I did want to say this song was one of the songs, of course, written by Elvis Perkins, but they presented it to Kiernan Shipka and literally just gave her the music, gave her the lyrics, and this is her performance completely.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And I guess that they had only done, it was something like 1 or 2 takes, and Osgood was like, we could have done just the first take because it was perfect all the way through.
All right.
But the interesting thing about this location, they said that they had searched high and low for a proper place to make this film. They looked through Toronto and Vancouver, but as I had said earlier, they eventually found what they needed in a town called Kemptville in Ontario, just outside of Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
But they found this agricultural college that was apparently on decline. And according to Perkins, there were only about, and depending on the interview, it's between 15 and 30 students left going there.
What the hell?
Yeah.
And so it literally had everything that they needed. They utilized all the spaces in different ways. They were able to paint and change floors. They said that there was a very lenient and vague administrative presence, was a direct quote. And so they kind of just had their run of the place.
Yeah.
There were students that were going to their classes in a certain part of the campus, but everything else was up for grabs and all theirs to use.
Okay.
I'm surprised that it was open still with that, like, small of a student body.
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean, lucky them.
yeah, shit. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Right?
But also, that was the other thing, is that they had said that this piano that she's playing, they just happened to find it in the basement and just brought it up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just
Hell
incredible.
Yeah.
But sometime after the recital, Kat and Rose sit together in Mr. Gordon's office, the administrator parked behind his desk and hanging up his telephone with a heavy sigh. A concerned Mrs. Drake and Mrs. Prescott stand to the side of him as he directs his attention over to Kat, asking if she's checked her cellular phone today, supposing her parents might have called her there. But Kat shares that she doesn't have a cell phone yet, her parents having claimed that she might get one for her birthday. Gordon takes this to heart, and after a glance over to his colleagues, he supposes that it's possible her parents just got caught up in some bad weather coming over the East Coast, planes getting delayed, what have you. But when he asks Rose about her parents, she confidently lies that she thought they were supposed to get out on Friday, so that's when she told her family to come. When Gordon takes a moment to digest this, Rose offers that she must have just spaced out, but she says that she was able to reach them and that it'll only take a day or so to change their plans. Which is also a terrible lie, because if they're already supposed to come on Friday, then shouldn't they just come on Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but you got to come earlier. We'll be there
We'll be
Friday.
We made arrangements.
But Gordon somehow accepts this, reminding the girls that Mrs. Drake and Mrs. Prescott will be here for them on campus, and he offers his reassurances to Kat specifically, telling her, now it happens that parents get confused, and the worst case is they come on Friday, and everyone goes home and has a really nice break anyway. He adds that after all, they can't let them live here. This comment really seems to unsettle Kat, but Gordon doesn't seem to notice as he glances over to Rose, asking her if she'll look after Kat until her parents arrive to take her home. Again, with these little rewards on a rewatch, because that specific sentence is very important to Kat,
Yeah.
and we discover why.
Yeah.
But to Gordon's request, Rose shares that unfortunately, she hasn't been feeling very well and was going to stay in bed. Gordon's eyes dart around the room for a solution to their predicament, but he then rises from his chair, reading a message that arrives on his cell phone before addressing his staff, tasking them with calling Kat's father on his cell phone and at home periodically. They agreed to do so, but in their agreement, worry seems to wash over Kat, which only Rose seems to take notice of. It is really funny to me that these dudes are just ready to get the fuck out of here.
They are.
So you guys can handle that, right?
It was odd because I'm sitting again, but I know we're watching from. It's like something's wrong. They're lying or something. They're just acting funny, and you're just like, okay, but we got to get out of here.
And you two children, you'll watch each other.
Yeah, you guys got this. Right?
I know Rose is older, but it's like
It's not.
Yeah.
But in the nuns' quarters, Kat places a call to her father, leaving a message on the family answering machine, wondering about his and her mother's whereabouts. She tries to remain calm as she stumbles her way to an awkward goodbye, suggesting for her father to call the school whenever he gets this message. But she then gathers with Rose, Mrs. Drake, and Mrs. Prescott in the dining room, setting the table, and when she places a spoon onto her napkin, an ominous score suddenly builds as she gazes into the silver, before centering it symmetrically on the fabric. This is something that I feel isn't explicitly shown even later when everything starts to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
But you can imagine through all the stuff that we do see later, what she saw here.
Okay.
And it's pretty eerie.
Mm-hmm.
But later, by candlelight, the group sits around the table, their hands clasped in front of them as they pray in unison before their meal. But as the snow falls heavily outside, the girls return to Rose's dorm room. Kat lingers in the doorway, watching as Rose sits at her vanity and brushes her long dark hair. Glancing over at the younger Kat, Rose lets out a sigh before asking, "You know I'm not babysitting you tonight, right, freshman?" Kat is taken aback, recalling Gordon's assignment for Rose to stay with her until Friday. But Rose just scoffs, wondering what Gordon could do about it. Bust her for not being at school over vacation? She's got a point.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know Rose is going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
It's just being kind of mean.
Yeah.
But Kat insists. Mr. Gordon said, only for Rose to snark. Mr. Gordon said. Mr. Gordon said. She cuts her eyes at Kat, irritated. What are you, a freaking recording? This wounds Kat, but she asks Rose where she's even going tonight. Admiring her reflection in the mirror, Rose answers, "Me? Nowhere." And she says if the sisters have any questions, for Kat to just tell them that she wasn't feeling well and is staying in bed. Kat nods silently, but Rose inquires, "You do know about the sisters, don't you?" Kat doesn't seem to, and as Rose runs her fingers through her hair, she asks, "You know they're wigs, right? You know they have no hair on their bodies? No hair anywhere?" When Kat can't even muster a response, Rose suggests the next time she sees the sisters to check their eyebrows. Totally fake. She says the real ones were burnt right off. When Kat doesn't believe this, Rose regales her with the tale of Jen Darling's sister, who graduated 3 years ago. She walked in on the sisters one night, worshipping the devil. Kat's disbelief dissipates slightly as she asks Rose who told her all of this. But Rose just rises from her chair, checking herself out in the mirror one last time before ordering Kat, "Don't come in my room, okay? And don't touch my shit." When Kat just stands there in the doorway, Rose approaches her annoyed, leading her out into the hall before she makes her exit as well. So this, to me, it's like, if it is going to be the sisters that are this like secret coven or something, it's interesting, but it's also a little stereotypical.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool that we're setting this up only to use it as misdirection.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because it totally sounds like like a rumor that,
Yeah.
you know, just ridiculous that you whisper in the hallway or whatever. Like, so I think it works in that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it is so ridiculous and stereotypical. But if you're young enough, it's like, Wait, what?
Probably.
I'm going to be looking at their eyebrows when I see them next, you know?
But Rose leaves the building, making her way through the cold with a pair of high-heeled shoes dangling from her fingers as she crosses the courtyard and over to a parked car idling in the snow. She wrenches the passenger side door open, climbing in to sit next to Rick, her boyfriend played by Peter J. Gray, as the music from his radio spills out into the evening. But as he offers her a kiss on her cheek, we find Kat watching Rose from a large upstairs window, disappearing into the fluorescent glow of the interior lights.
I was very relieved to meet Rick.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so this is how we get pregnant at an all-girls boarding school.
Yes.
There was something that Perkins mentioned on commentary, and I don't know if he's bullshitting or not, but he was talking about this snowfall that we see in this scene, because it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would think, especially with everything that they were saying about this being like the coldest February on record in decades, he had said something like, sometimes it gets so cold that whether you read Fahrenheit or Celsius, it doesn't even fucking matter. And I was like, holy shit. But he says, for this, we used Parmesan cheese instead of snow. It's just cheaper. And I was like, there's no fucking way.
Dude, that would stink so bad.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. Unless somebody's like, no, I was there.
Yeah.
Somebody
no,
was
movies
grading.
do that all the time.
Yeah. We had a guy on a ladder. But without hesitation, Kat immediately makes her way down the hall, creaking open the door of Rose's bedroom. She creeps her way into the room, reaching for the hairbrush that Rose left behind on her desk, admiring the strands of her long, dark hair caught in the brush's bristles. But she then sets it down to pick up the prints of Rose's school photo, the score rising ominously as Kat traces over Rose's smiling face with her thumb as tears begin to well within her eyes. But the sudden ringing of a telephone prompts Kat to set the photos back down on the desk, and we hover in the empty hallway where the phone rests, its loud, incessant ring rattling the receiver unanswered as we dip to black.
I have a feeling Rose is in trouble. I don't know. I seeing her go in there and the way she looked at the brush, and then she ran her finger across her photo. I was like, man, I'm a little worried right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it could be the way that it's shown, and knowing that this is a horror film.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, this is frightening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, it could be so many things. It could be Rose is older and she's kind of wondering what it'll be like when she's going out on dates. And she idolizes Rose or looks up to her.
Yeah.
It could be she has a crush on Rose.
That's what I thought at first. And then I was like, it's not going to be that cute. It's not going to be anything that good. I'm like, this is
It's going to be frightening.
This is something really bad.
But when we return, we're peering down a long, dark road in the dead of winter, where beneath the golden light of street lamps, Joan, played by Emma Roberts, steps off of a bus, clutching her purse to her chest as she crosses the street and walks down the covered path of a terminal leading into the station.
We talked about Emma Roberts in Scream 4.
Right?
She was also in American Horror Story, 56 episodes.
God damn.
Yeah. She was also in Madam Web.
Oh. So, hits and misses.
Oh, she was also in We're the Millers in 2013.
All right.
Okay,
Is that
that
right?
one-
People like that.
All right, yeah, we're ending on a good one.
Yeah.
Nate's favorite actress?
Correct. Yeah. This is when I made the conscious decision to put my personal feelings to the side. But I did see, to kind of piggyback on what T was saying about getting these well-known actors.
Right.
That was Osgood Perkins's motivation behind sending the script to Emma Roberts, and she read it. He said she got back to them immediately and she loved it and was on board. And she's the one who suggested Kiernan Shipka for Kat.
Okay.
So I guess sometimes bad people do good things.
Gotta be grateful.
Yeah.
Focus on the positive. Accentuate the positive.
So she's in a bus station or something? What's going
Yes,
on?
we're
Okay.
Blackcoat's daughter.
Uh-huh.
Once inside, Joan glances around the empty hall before making her way into the restroom. She stands at the sink, collecting herself as she stares at her reflection. But her mind is soon overtaken with harsh memories, stark silhouettes of masked medical personnel peering down at her, their whispers pervading, as the shadow of a nurse hands her a small paper cup of medication, and an unruly patient is sternly seized by orderlies and dragged away. Joan shakes these memories, but when she reaches for the faucet to wash her hands, she discovers the white bracelet from the hospital still resting at her wrist.
So this doesn't look good.
No. As someone jostles the locked doorknob from the outside, Joan stammers that there's someone in here before cinching her fingers beneath the band and tearing it free from her arm. She exits out into the hall, slinking through shadows to reach a payphone, and after the collected coins from her pocket clatter into the machine, Joan places a call. When it picks up on the other end, her only answer is an automated voice. "We're sorry. The number you've dialed has been disconnected or is no longer in service." Disappointed, Joan hangs up the receiver. And again, what this means, it is just... And that's something very interesting, the way that this is shot as well, the angle.
Yeah.
We get this exact shot later in a different context.
Yeah,
Okay,
even the
okay.
looking at the coins in the hand.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah. So right now I'm like new character unlocked. I was like, all right. It was interesting to me, but the flash, like what was going on, where everything was kind of dark, you couldn't really see the flashbacks, whatever was happening. Some of it did seem familiar to me.
Okay, yeah.
Like I was like, well, I think I've seen this somewhere before.
But holding her purse close to her, she continues down the hall, past the ticket office, and over to a kiosk where she finds a map. She unfolds it, her eyes tracing over the printed paths that lead from Ellenville. Her eyes then peer at the nearby town of Portsmouth, noting its proximity to Bramford, where we linger for just a moment.
So at this point in time, with the information that I have at this point in time, it's like, okay, it's about to be on and poppin' at Bramford.
Right.
Yeah.
We're having multiple story arcs like convening there tonight when these kids are mostly unsupervised.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so how is she getting to Bramford to kind of get this party started?
Yeah.
She's clearly escaped from some kind of institution. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
And you wonder what role she even plays.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it seems we have enough established right now, but who are you and what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really though.
I mean, yeah.
It all seems like you said it's happening right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little too accusatory.
Hey, two quick questions.
Yeah. Who are you? But Joan exits the building, resting alone on a bench outside of the bus terminal, glancing down an adjacent road where a single car sits parked, its headlights beaming into the wintry evening. But down the path in front of Joan walks Bill, played by James Remar, who notices her sitting there dismayed in the cold.
Not James Remar. I was so excited.
I love this dude.
Yeah. We talked about him in What Lies Beneath. He's also Dexter's dad.
Yes.
And he was also in Oppenheimer in 2023.
Right.
And just so because we will, he was in Blade Trinity in 2004.
And he was also
Oh, God.
a very important character on Sex and the City.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Yes. It was either that or Desperate Housewives. I do want to say I literally just rewatched all the way through Dexter.
Yeah.
He's currently on Welcome to Derry. And then I start my script. I was telling Jules, I'm like, I can't. Like, he's everywhere.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
James Remar, what are you doing?
I just love him. I think he is such an underrated actor.
Agreed.
Yes,
He's so
yes.
good. At this moment, when we meet him, I put in my notes that I was concerned that I only trusted him because of him being James Remar.
Right.
I'm afraid of where we're going after this.
Right.
Like, I feel like your reputation has made me think that this is okay, but I don't actually know if this is okay.
That's
Okay.
very fair.
Like, you're
because-
Dexter's dad.
Yeah.
It's like, again, like we talk about a lot where people coast on their reputations.
Yes.
Right.
But I was like, okay, well, he played double duty as an asshole on Django Unchained.
He did,
Yes. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, maybe, what are we leaning into? Because there is something so interesting about the way that he portrays this character.
Yes.
Where it is this balancing act where you don't know, am I able to trust you? Or should I assume the worst from you?
It's of course a knee jerk, especially in a film like this, to assume the worst. But his portrayal of this character, a pretty complicated character, as it slowly reveals itself.
Yeah.
It's so nuanced that scene by scene, I'm concerned, concerned.
Yeah.
But it's so good because it really keeps you guessing this whole kind of arc here until you understand what's going on.
No, yeah, I think it was just that safety that made me switch to like, oh, I think you're in danger.
Yeah.
Because it is, you want to like him.
It's like, you're tricking me right now.
Yeah. But Bill leans closer, calling out, "Hey, are you okay?" Joan nods silently, but a concerned Bill supposes that she can't be very warm in the jacket that she's wearing. Joan doesn't answer. Bill asks if she's waiting for someone. Joan doesn't answer. Bill offers earnestly to give her a lift somewhere, certain that she has to be freezing. And this is when Joan finally enters the chat, wondering where Bill is heading. He answers that they're going to get back on the highway, and then they're going to head east for a little while. He asks Joan where she's headed, if she's going somewhere in particular, and Joan replies that she's heading to Portsmouth. Bill knows exactly where that is, and he gestures widely to his parked car across the way, where he says that his wife is waiting. And Joan glances over to the idling car again off in the distance. Bill politely introduces himself, asking for her name in return, which Joan provides, earning Bill's compliment that Joan is a nice name. But when Bill brings Joan over to the car, a less than enthusiastic Linda, played by Lauren Holly, rolls down her window, asking her husband, "Bill, what are you doing?" Bill answers swiftly that he's just trying to help.
Lauren Holly, she was in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story in 93, Dumb and Dumber in 94, and Down Periscope in 96.
Varied career.
Yeah.
He was like, I recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I was more comforted by the fact that he actually did have a wife in the car.
Me too.
That did make me feel better, but her reaction to him bringing Joan to the car did make me worry a little bit.
And it was one of those things because whenever he points to the car, you see it, but you can't tell if there's anyone inside.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh God, what is gonna, So that was a nice moment.
Yeah.
But Bill opens the back passenger door for Joan, inviting her inside. And when she climbs in, she sits there nervously, the exhaust pipe belching a cloud of smoke behind her through the back window. But when Bill settles into the driver's seat, Linda addresses her husband concretely, telling him, "We'll take her to the next gas station." But Bill repeats his intentions, that he's just trying to help. Joan just sits there awkwardly, but something catches her eye. Right next to her in the back seat rests a vibrant bouquet of flowers, and before the car can pull away, we pan across the back bumper from the bright red taillight past the New York State license plate and over to a weathered sticker for the Bramford School. We dip to black.
My brain it's fireworks in my head.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm thinking one of two things. It's either somebody did get a hold of Rose's parents or she called them and was like, oh, LOL, we're not actually getting on Friday, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Or Kat's parents are actually okay.
Right.
And they got delayed.
Okay.
But why are we like being so casual and stopping and picking people up? And like, I'm like, why don't we have an urgency to get there when you should have already been there? Did the storm delay them? Did they get the day? Was Mr. Gordon right? And sometimes parents forget or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell? There's only 2 kids left at the school.
Right.
What is going on? Whose
Okay.
parents are you?
I'm going to be honest, what I thought, I was like, oh, they're fixing to kill Joan. I was like, oh no, you're in trouble.
And I mean, the cryptic, I'm just trying to help.
Yeah.
That's
and she's like,
a serial killer.
What are
Yeah.
you doing? Yeah.
It's like you're killing another person
Yeah.
or whatever. This is the only thing we argue about. They have a great marriage.
Yeah.
Just this one
Just
little
that
thing,
one
you know?
thing. But yeah, it is one of those things because you're trying to piece together. Joan, wants to go to Bramford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're connected to Bramford. How does this all work together?
Right.
And where are we going with it? So again, it's one of those things where, especially on the first viewing, you have so many questions that are just burning.
Yeah. In
And
the first viewing, you're like, this is a wild night.
Yeah. And it creates so much intrigue.
Yeah.
But when we return from blackness, we find Rick's car returning to the dormitories at the school, parking out in the snow. But inside the car, the couple sits quietly, Rick attempting to grapple with the gravity of what he's been told. He switches off the radio as Rose unfastens her seatbelt, the metal of the buckle clattering against the door. They sit in silence for a moment until Rick finally breaks it, asking for Rose to give him a call later. Rose just replies that she doesn't have her phone, and Rick surmises, "So that's it?" Rose just sighs, telling Rick to stop saying that, and when Rick wonders what exactly he's supposed to say, Rose just offers, "Nothing." And after a moment of contemplation, she adds, "I'll take care of it." Rick says that she could at least let him drive her there, but Rose refuses his proposal. And in that case, Rick just tells her to be careful. Rose finds humor in this word, careful.
Well, they don't have a history of being careful in Rose's defense.
Yeah.
But again, we don't say anything. We know exactly what the conversation in that car was, what the conclusion was. And the situation sucks. Like, shit, I don't know. It happens. It sucks.
It does suck, and it did make me kind of. You shouldn't have been mean to Kat earlier, but
She's going through a lot.
Yeah,
She's got a lot of very heavy decisions to make for such a young person. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, Kat didn't do anything.
No.
Kat hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
There was something really, really interesting that Jules had mentioned to me. They had brought forth these parallels between what we have as far as a few elements in the Blackcoat's Daughter and Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Because we have this, of course, wintry atmosphere.
Yeah.
This campus of the school, this plot line with Rose and this unwanted pregnancy, and the ominous phone calls.
Yeah.
And it's like that has to be something
A
that
nod.
influenced
Right.
Yeah.
Perkins.
That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
But Rose exits the car, closing the door behind her as she approaches the entrance of the dorm. She lingers in the foyer, breathing a deep sigh before climbing the steps to the upper floor. But when she reaches Kat's room, finding the door to be open and her bed to be empty, Rose just continues down the hall and into the restroom, seeking the privacy of a stall to urinate. After she's finished, she cleanses her face with cold water at the sink, and when she catches her reflection in the mirror, she scolds herself sharply. Idiot. But at the other side of the room, the radiator suddenly rumbles, startling Rose and capturing her attention. Through it, she hears a small voice traveling through the ducts. Sounds good. We pan across it as the muffled conversation continues to Rose's puzzlement. But when a distant thumping echoes rhythmically through the halls, Rose takes it upon herself to investigate. She peers down the long, dark hallway, past the telephone that was previously ringing, before making her way down into the empty stairwell. And when the muffled conversation continues, Rose creeps cautiously downward, the door creaking closed behind her. But on the first floor, Rose reaches a set of double doors, slowly pulling them open, and discovering the distant voice has suddenly grown a bit clearer to her. She calls out to Kat, but when she receives no response, she ventures on through the corridor behind the door. She instinctively switches on the light, which, thank you very much.
Yeah.
She peers down the hall, long pipes lining the ceiling all the way through the dark. Her slow steps echo into the emptiness of the corridor as she finds her way to a large brick-walled room. The score hums ominously, the wind begins to howl, but Rose continues onward, approaching the soft orange glow emanating from the boiler room, which is cast brightly into its connecting corridor. But when Rose reaches the door, stepping on her tiptoes to peer into the room through the grimy glass of its small window, her eyes widen in fright at the sight before her. There, silhouetted before the glowing grates of the burning furnace at the center of the room, kneels Kat, whose shadow lowers and rises in rhythmic, jittery prostration, only to cease her movements, sitting upright in reverence as she stares silently into the flickering flames in front of her.
Be so fucking for real right now.
Yeah.
What? I was like, oh, the sisters really are. Wait, what the fuck? Cat!
Yeah, it's just Freddy.
Right.
Yeah.
She's dreaming.
Yeah.
What
It's okay.
the fuck, dude?
No, those movements are enough to never.
No, hell no.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
both sleeping in this building.
No.
Like, there's no. Oh, no. Mm-mm. This is terrifying.
Yeah, that all I could really think was, Rose, get your ass out of there.
Seriously.
It's such an intense escalation. Like, you think of how Kat was, which she was already being a little creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But when she left,
Yeah.
she comes back and this is what the fuck you're doing? Nah.
Yeah, people don't just move like that.
No.
But then you think last time we saw Kat, the phone was ringing.
Oh, yes.
So who was that?
Yeah.
Did she have a conversation? Did she receive some news about maybe,
Yeah.
a tragedy that happened? Like, I'm just like, again, I spent so much of this film being like, what the fuck is going on?
I was like, I hope Rick's car is still idling outside.
Yeah, no shit.
Take me to the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a distant motel, Joan slumbers, curled up in her bed, her name appearing in cyan against the strands of her dirty blonde hair. Joan. Just a sidebar, as I was writing my script, I was like, there's got to be a better way to say dirty blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking it up and I stumbled across a forum. And in it, somebody was like, well, in Germany, we have this phrase. And they said it and it looked really cool. And I was like, well, what does that mean? It translates to street dog blonde.
Oh.
And I was like, well, dirty blonde's not so bad.
Dirty blonde. I've heard dishwater.
Yeah.
That's still mean. Yeah.
There's got to be a nicer way to say that.
Yeah.
But Joan awakens, sitting up in a stupor, and when she glances over to her nightstand, she finds a small glass of water resting next to a note on the motel stationery. Thought I should let you sleep. Bill. Voices echo through the thin motel walls as Joan reaches for the glass and quickly gulps down half of its contents. Across the room, she discovers her purse sitting on the dresser beneath the light of a lamp, climbing out of bed to retrieve it. She dumps it out onto the wrinkled blanket of her bed, revealing the inconspicuous items that were once inside. Her wallet, chapstick, a brush, a set of keys, her cell phone, a lighter, and a tampon. This is very interesting to me because you start to feel like maybe things aren't as they seem.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, why would you use a payphone if you have a cell phone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Little peculiar.
But I'm like, okay, maybe this is just a nice guy.
Right.
Because it seems like they got her own room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're
that's
letting
true.
her rest. Like, I mean, I'm truly just hoping for the best at this point.
Oh, no, me too. But after giving these miscellaneous things a once-over, Joan retires to the bathroom, stepping out of her jeans and removing her sweatshirt to stand in front of the mirror in her underwear. A tense violin saws in the score as she stares at her reflection, but in her mind's eye, she suddenly sees a police officer standing within the shadows of a darkened room, aiming down the barrel of a pump-action shotgun as he pulls the trigger. Its loud blast reverberates now within the motel restroom, forcing Joan to close her eyes and collect herself. In her reflection, we discover a scar at her shoulder, the smooth, imperfect flesh stark against her pale skin. But hovering behind her for a moment, we see the other side of this blemish, the circumference of it much wider and angrier from this angle. An exit wound.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
She's lived a life.
Yeah.
I'm like, what have you been through? What is the story here?
Mm-hmm.
But Joan steps into the shower, the frenetic score continuing as she stands beneath the warm water of the faucet, attempting to wash this memory away, only to be overtaken by another. A shadowy figure leaning above her, a fluorescent light above his head making him almost unrecognizable, except for the almost illegible clerical collar cinched at his neck.
I know you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, is she a student here? But why is she going there when everyone else is leaving for break?
So right now, when we see that, my thought is you ran away from the school. Why? Why are you going back?
And also, you were at the and you've been shot.
Yeah.
So I'm really confused at this point.
Yes, yeah.
It's been a wild winter.
Yeah.
It's one of these things that you're just like, how? But I like being confused right now.
Absolutely.
Because there are certain filmmakers, and you don't know it yet, of course, because this is Perkins's debut feature.
Mm-hmm.
But everything that's come so far, you're like, I feel like I'm in capable hands.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Like
feel like you're going to explain.
the payoff will be worth it. And
Right.
it is.
And something very interesting, because we do get a shot of the water washing down the drain in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
And Perkins was talking about it, and he's like, you can't help but quote horror as a horror filmmaker, but he feels like some of this section came directly from his subconscious when it comes to Psycho.
Yeah, I can totally see it. And he had a shot of water going down the drain in fucking long legs, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I love that, though. Because, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm. But Joan shuts off the water, pushing back the pale blue shower curtain to step out onto the tiles and wrap herself in a towel. And this is one of the secret blue
Okay.
that we're talking about. But a sudden knock at the door startles her, Joan cautiously creeping over to the door to peer through the peephole. She trembles unnervous. Hello? Only to be met by the jovial voice of Bill, who announces himself, reminding her that he's the guy from the bus station. The score warbles eerily as Joan stands small in a wide shot, surrounded on all sides by sickly green walls as she reaches for the lock to open the door and let Bill inside. She retreats to the corner of the room as Bill follows her in, wrapping her arms around the fold of her bath towel, its small barrier maintaining her modesty before Bill. He follows her over to the bed, standing right across from her, as he tells her that he just came to check on her, and he seems pleased to see that she's awake. Joan just takes a seat at the edge of her bed, the wilted woman averting her eyes from the towering stranger. Bill takes it upon himself to toss Joan's maroon leather jacket out of a nearby chair to take a seat himself, settling into it as he offers, "So, I guess you were pretty zonked out there, huh?" He notes that she slept for almost 4 hours in the back seat of the car. And so it's clear that Bill won the argument of Portsmouth versus the next gas station.
Yeah.
When Joan apologizes for this, Bill asks, "For what?" And all Joan can do is shrug. The older man scoots toward the edge of his seat, declaring, "First rule, you don't apologize to me, young lady. I'm happy to help, okay? Joan replies with another instinctive apology, which inspires a chuckle and a smile from Bill, who assures her that it's okay. And that's me coded, apologizing for apologizing. But Joan reaches for the scattered items from her purse that lay across her bed, finally summoning the courage to ask a burning question to Bill. Why is he doing this, helping her so much? Bill exhales sharply before returning to Joan with a question of his own. Do you believe in God? Joan doesn't, and this surprises Bill. No? Just like that? Joan's jaw tightens as she repeats her lack of belief, but Bill persists, asking Joan if she's ever tried to look for God. When Joan doesn't answer, Bill continues. He notes that it's strange. People think that you look for God in some book or in a church or a statue, maybe even a candle's flame. But that's not how it works for him. It's a very interesting idea.
Yeah.
But Joan just rocks slightly, uneasy as she fiddles with the lighter that she grabbed from her belongings. But when she stares down at her bare feet resting atop the motel carpet, she finds herself in another memory, the camera gliding into a bathroom, where just behind a shower curtain and beneath the pale blue tiles, a girl rests her bare feet against the porcelain of a bathtub. But Bill explains that he looks for God in the unlikely things that happen, little coincidences. He says when he saw Joan sitting at that bus station, she reminded him so much of someone he hasn't seen in a very long time. But then, when Joan said that she was going to Portsmouth, a coincidence like that can't be ignored. He admits that it must sound strange, but he guesses that he saw God in Joan. Joan lifts her eyes to meet his gaze, her voice barely a whisper when she asks if Bill is going to Portsmouth too. And Bill says that he isn't. Not exactly. He and Linda are headed to the town just before it. Bramford. When he asks if she knows this town, Joan's breath quickens, and she darts her eyes away, staring back at her toes as she breathes. When do we leave? Having to repeat herself louder when Bill doesn't hear. When he wonders what her hurry is, Joan inquires, "Where's your wife?" Bill responds nonchalantly that Linda is sleeping, but when he asks why she wanted to know, Joan's silence is his only answer. So Bill rises from his chair, supposing that they'll probably get out of here first thing in the morning, but assuming that Joan is pretty hungry at this late hour, he shares that there's a restaurant next door, suggesting for her to get dressed and come down to have some dinner. Joan thanks him softly, Bill exiting the motel room with an upbeat, "Okay." But all alone now, Joan buries her face in her shoulder, struggling against her emotions as we dip to black.
I was very stressed out
Yeah.
during this entire scene. I think that you can infer by the bumper sticker that Bill has a daughter. And so I'm like, is this a situation? Why are you in this girl's room while your wife is asleep? You still feel like it's appropriate to come in and make yourself comfortable while she's sitting there in a towel. I'm like, are you not this nice guy that you purported yourself to be? Or on the other hand, do you just have this dad energy where you're not even registering that she's in a towel because you're not looking at her that way and you're just trying to make sure that she's okay?
Yeah.
She passed out the whole way here. You know what I mean? Like, I just spent this entire scene going back and forth between the two. And then he's like, well, all right, let's go eat. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, my head is spinning.
It was, for me, it was weird and uncomfortable. But I think at this point, I'm still stuck on you guys are going to kill Joan.
Right.
Because it's just it was the back and forth.
Yeah, it's like, are you nefarious or not?
Yeah.
Like, it's so that the nuance with which he plays this character is so good.
Yeah.
Because you don't, like, any given line, you're like, oh no, well, I don't know if I like that. Why are you sitting down? Like, it's like, what games are you playing? Or are you just genuinely this nice guy that's like, you need to rest, you need to eat, we'll take you this far? Like, I'm just like, I'm stressing out trying to decipher what these motives are.
And I think that this scene is sold so well through the cinematography as well. And I did want to talk a little bit about the cinematographer.
Okay.
It was a woman called Julie Kirkwood, and she's shot a few episodes of The Terror and Yellow Jackets.
Ooh.
Okay.
But she also shot I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House.
Okay.
For Perkins.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that once they started discussing this film, the two of them vibed immediately, and she understood implicitly the aesthetic and the atmosphere that Perkins was going for. But especially in moments like this, Perkins said that as he was finishing the screenplay, he realized through the characters in their portrayals and the story being told that he had written something so incredibly feminine. And he said that the idea of him standing at a monitor with another dude trying to figure out how to shoot this film made no fucking sense.
I love that.
And so he said that the idea of having a woman shoot this film, somebody with this feminine perspective, can lend ideas to moments that he never would have considered.
Yeah.
And I think that this scene is one of those times that it is sold so well through the way that it is shot, where at some points Joan seems so small in the frame, and we even shoot from angles where Bill is like towering over her, almost domineering to make you suspect that there's something nefarious.
Yeah.
And then there are these moments where we back off and they're both in these wide shots looking on equal ground. And then it's just the way that it's done. It feels just so perfect for each moment.
No, yeah. And it works.
It does. But something else to me is just the content of the scene with what Bill is saying, where he's talking about finding God in these small coincidences.
Yeah.
And you think about it after watching the film and going back.
Yes.
And you think of it from a different perspective of finding something else in those little coincidences that start to pile up in a way that is just like, I don't know. There's something, it's like a dark fate.
It
Okay,
is.
yeah.
And
You know?
you think that the coincidence is one thing.
Yes.
And then with more context later on, it's like, oh, that's not what the coincidence was. Like, there is a coincidence happening here,
Yes, yeah.
but it's something completely different.
But when we return from blackness, we find ourselves caught in the snowfall outside of the dormitories of the Bramford School. But inside, resting against the pale blue tiles of the bathroom, stands a suspicious and somewhat disturbed Rose, who stares into the pale fabric of a shower curtain, Kat cleansing herself under the warm water behind it. Rose finally breaks the silence, asking Kat if she knows how much trouble she could get into for this, meaning how much trouble Rose could get into.
Yeah.
Which it's like, that's not what thinking about or worried about. What the hell was happening
What were you
in the
doing?
boiler room?
Hey, that wasn't any of her business. Look,
We're just not going to comment on it.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a nightly ritual. You just, but I could get into a lot of trouble for this. But the water suddenly shuts off, Rose offering the freshman a towel and the pair retreating back to Kat's bedroom for Kat to get changed. Nervously fiddling with her fingers, Rose finally asks, "So what were you doing down there?" Kat just stands within the shadows of her closet, changing clothes and leaving the poor Rose to speculate. "Were you sleepwalking? Is that what that was?" After a moment of hesitation, Kat offers a less than convincing, "Uh-huh."
Get out.
She steps into the low light of the room, now wearing a red sweater and pajama pants as she climbs into the blankets of her bed. Rose asks Kat if her parents called yet, but after a moment of silence, Kat answers with sullen certainty, "They're not going to call." Rose, taking a seat on the bed across from Kat, assures the younger girl that her parents probably just got confused. Kat asks, "Like your parents?" And Rose offers a less than convincing, "Uh-huh." But the ever-observant Kat reminds Rose that her parents didn't get confused. She told them not to come so she could go on a date.
Fuck.
Yeah. Rose lowers her head, defeated as she admits that it wasn't a date. But when Kat asks what it was, Rose simply states that it was nothing. An eeriness builds within the score as Kat reminds Rose that Mr. Gordon tasked her to look after her. Rose obviously knows this, but Kat continues. Mr. Gordon said that they'd be here by Friday, but now it's too late. Rose doesn't understand, but Kat concludes. They're dead.
Yeah, what?
Rose responds in shock, the color draining from her face before she scolds Kat, telling her that that's an awful thing to say, that she shouldn't say things like that it's not funny. Kat just stares unblinkingly at Rose as she rests against her pillow, suddenly shifting tone and topic as she whispers, "You smell pretty." Something in these words deeply unsettles Rose, who rises from her seat and crosses over to the doorway. Her voice trembles that Kat's parents will be here on Friday and that she's going to be okay. And that's it. Kat's eyes widen, seeming to stare at Rose, past her, through her. Rose makes her way through the door frame, but turns around quickly to ask if there's anything else she can get Kat before she leaves. Kat just smiles that there isn't, but as Rose steps into the hall, she adds, "You had your chance."
What? I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Rose should have took off on her.
That's it.
It's like, oh,
You know Rick's number.
Yeah. No. I was already, I'm going to be honest, I was already waiting because when she's in the closet changing, it's dark as fuck.
Yes.
And I was like, that looks like a scary dark. I was like, I'm waiting for some bad shit to happen.
Yeah.
And then when she said that, and then she's like, "You had your chance," I was like, oh man, I fucked up.
I have to be honest, this is where I was writing, and I was like, I think this
Good
is...
night.
Yeah. Because, dude, it's the way that there's a sense of dread that builds through this conversation, the way that Kat looks in bed, the way she's just staring, unblinking. There was even, because I'm expecting something scary to happen immediately.
Right.
And so there is this edit where Rose steps into the hall and then she turns around just to ask if she needs anything. And I was like, it's the devil. Like, I swear to God, I was like, oh shit. Because I wasn't expecting to see a face and it's like, oh, it's just Rose.
It's the devil.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I think that to me, that's just such, it's so well crafted in that way.
Right.
That again, it's just two girls talking in a dormitory and I'm fucking on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, you really are.
And that line, come on.
Yeah.
That is such a fucking terrifying thing to say. You had your chance.
Yeah.
Dude, no. Mm-mm.
But at this, Rose stops dead in her tracks for a moment as the unsettling score rises around her, only for Rose to continue down the dark corridor, leaving Kat all alone in her room. Rose retreats to her quarters, closing the door behind her and switching on a lamp next to her. She puts her back against the door, the window across the room reflected into the mirror behind her. She then very wisely drags a heavy piece of furniture in front of her bedroom door to block it, settling into an uneasy seat at the edge of her bed, with her face awash with worry.
Smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, this is why I'm like, I really like Rose.
Yeah.
But through the empty corridor, we find our way back into Kat's bedroom, where in the dark, beneath her thin blanket, Kat writhes, her eyes rolling back in her head as she gasps, and suddenly, her legs lurch upward, arcing over her head to land firmly above her, her spine settling in to an unnatural contortion. We cut to black.
Come on, man.
I've heard of doing yoga before bed. But
No.
I'm pretty sure that's all that this is.
If we didn't, this is confirmation. Like, we didn't need anything
It's
else.
like, Rose, why didn't you stay to see this?
Yeah.
I did want to say this was performed by a contortionist called Miranda Bingham.
Okay.
And again, it is one of those things where you're thinking about genre conventions. And this is the kind of thing that hooks you back in if you're starting to feel it's a little too ambiguous.
Right.
Because you're like, this I know. This is bad.
Yes.
But also, it's like, I kind of like sitting in ambiguity, and this is like, oh, just in case. If you thought that maybe Kat was just like going through some shit and like, no, something is happening to her.
Yeah.
It's almost too, like, there is a shift in the film here.
Yes.
Where it's like, there is no doubt about what's going on. Whatever you think is happening is happening.
Yeah.
And also, I'm like, are the sisters just like, they're fine? Like when Homer checked on them in the treehouse, like nobody's going to come and make sure they're in bed or like, because they're still on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're in their little house, I guess. We go to bed at 9.
It's like we all have dinner together. But after that, it's like, yeah, they can sneak out. They can fucking...
Yeah, that is
be flopping
true,
around in
yeah.
the basement. They can be contorting in their... It's fine. They're fine.
You know, it's their vacation too. Give them a break.
I don't want to deal with these damn kids.
I didn't realize you were the headmaster.
You're right, though, because Mr. Gordon didn't tell them to watch them.
Yeah, no.
He told
didn't.
Rose to watch
That's
them.
right.
Yeah, dude.
And leave the nuns alone.
Yeah.
But when we return, we find Joan entering the restaurant and peering past the mostly empty tables to discover Bill waiting for her in a booth, waving her over. I will say whenever Joan enters the restaurant, they have those little like toddler seats that are up on a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And one section of them is that secret blue.
Okay.
But Joan joins Bill somewhat reluctantly. Bill all smiles as she takes a seat across from him. Noticing that she's still wearing the same maroon leather jacket, Bill tells her that Linda has an extra coat for her that she can borrow, which is a lot warmer than what she's currently wearing. Joan thanks him, and Bill glances down at the menu in his hands, assuring her that Linda should be joining them any minute now. But in the meantime, Bill attempts to make conversation, asking if Portsmouth is where Joan calls home, where her mom and dad are. Joan replies that it isn't, and Bill continues. Friends? Someone? Joan confirms the latter. Someone. Bill reasons that someone is better than having no one, isn't it? He chuckles good-naturedly, but Joan seems to have never smiled once in her entire life. Bill just glances around the restaurant, sharing that they changed the decor a few years ago and explaining that it used to be more of a kid's place that was famous for their chicken noodle soup. He says that that's how they came by it anyway. He and Linda used to spend a lot of time here with their daughter. He reminds Joan of how he told her that she reminded him of somebody, revealing that that's who he meant. His daughter. The score rises tensely as Joan meets Bill's gaze, the father sharing that his daughter would be right around Joan's age now. He then shares that they lost her 9 years ago. 9 years ago tomorrow, actually. But he says that it's okay, that he and Linda do okay. But he admits that it's difficult, offering the old adage that time heals all wounds. Joan finally looks up at him again, Bill noting that little by little it does get easier, except for this time of year when they go and lay flowers on the anniversary. But Bill reaches into his back pocket for his wallet, telling Joan that he actually has a picture of his daughter. A low note resonates as he opens his billfold, reaching inside for a small 2x3 photograph that rests inside. Bill's eyes linger on it for a moment, tracing the face of his long-lost child before turning the picture over to show Joan. Pinched between her fingers is a very familiar photograph, and against the backdrop of a bright blue sky and splotchy clouds sits the ever-smiling Rose. Bill breathes. That's my Rose. As Joan looks on in seeming recognition, maintaining her cool as she offers that Bill's daughter is very pretty. Bill concurs, his chin trembling as Joan's eyes never leave the photograph. But when the waitress, played by Rhonda Louise Joan, arrives to take their order, Bill directs his attention to her. He tells her that he's ready when asked, but when he turns back to Joan, asking if she's ready to order, Joan very abruptly excuses herself to the restroom, leaving the photo of Rose behind on the table.
Okay. Looking at my notes, I was absolutely going through it. I have in caps here, if you don't let me see that goddamn picture. I have cat as a ghost, question mark, exclamation mark. And then you finally see it.
Cat is a ghost?
Well, because he's like, we lost her 9 years ago. I still think this is all happening on the same night.
That did cross my mind.
And so I'm like, okay, what? Cat's fucking flipping around in the bed. She's worshiping the devil in the basement.
Let's call it what it is.
I'm like, Cat has already passed. That's why her parents didn't show up. Like, and then we see the picture and it's like, oh my God, this is in the future.
9 years.
9 years in the future. And Rose is not going to make it.
Yeah.
There is so much to unpack in this. I think that it's such a great reveal. And it explains the odd interactions between Bill and Linda.
Yeah.
It's so fucking sad. And I think that it's kind of at the perfect time because we really turned a corner watching the contortionist scene with Cat.
Yeah.
Now is the time to like bring out your dead, so to speak, and drop the other shoe and tell us what the hell is going on. Because we already know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no ambiguity here. Shit is happening. So I think that following that with this, it's kind of the perfect timing of, oh, and this thing that you also thought was happening, you were wrong about that too. Like, this is the future. Rose is dead. And so you're just like, how the fuck does Joan fit into any of this?
I was still trying to figure that out, but I'll be honest, I for a minute was still like, he's lying. You're just saying that because we know your daughter. I was like, you're lying.
But I'm like, she took that picture when we were with her.
Yeah.
So this has to be in the future because he wouldn't even have access to it tonight.
Okay.
So it's like,
You
shit.
have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the other thing now that I can tell you that secret blue symbolized was the tragedy of a vibrant young life lost too soon.
Okay.
And so that is something that we see in scenes with Rose.
Yeah.
And then we see her lingering on in the present day 9 years later through these different sightings throughout. And we learn why it also means so much to see it around Joan, too.
Yeah.
Right.
But Perkins said that Kat also has her own colors that are supposed to be associated with her. He said that they're browns, amber colors, and maroons. And they're meant to signify the quality of home and warmth that she eventually finds. But if you think about the color of maroon, we do see Kat wearing it with this Bramford sweater.
Yeah.
But we also see it somewhere else, which is very interesting. But Joan retires to a bathroom stall, closing the door behind her and standing over the toilet. We peer up at her from below, watching as a giggle suddenly bursts from her and she throws her hand over her smiling mouth to stifle it.
So here I was like, oh, you're going to kill them. I was like, I was so wrong. Like that immediately I was like, oh, I was fucking wrong.
I mean,
yeah, well,
because like you said earlier, she seems to have never smiled in her life. She is very
she's like
grim.
Yes.
Rex Banner.
Yes. And so this seemed like a genuinely, like, I was not expecting to see that picture reaction.
No.
Yeah.
And then for her reaction to be to excuse herself and go fucking giggle, that is so scary.
And you return on future subsequent viewings, little coincidences.
Yes.
And you're like, fucking hell.
Yes. She's like, wow.
Yeah.
But in her mind's eye, she remembers a sinister deed done. Her hand cinching a belt around the throat of an innocent woman from behind, squeezing it tighter and tighter. And there, in the woman's purse, she discovers a Rhode Island driver's license. And next to the woman's smiling face, we see her name. Joan Marsh.
God damn it.
But in the restroom, the woman now known as Joan fixes her hair before returning to the restaurant, clutching her purse close to her. But she stops behind the counter when she notices an uncredited officer stopped at Bill's table, chatting inaudibly with him. She glances over at the dish pit, her eyes lingering on a discarded steak knife resting atop a plate among the remnants of some stranger's meal. But when Joan returns to Bill, he stands up at the side of the table, paying the bill and leaving a tip for the server. He explains to Joan that they've got really bad weather coming in overnight, and if they don't get on the road soon, they'll be snowed in all night and maybe even the day after, too. He says that they're packing up their food to go, suggesting that Joan grab it for them and meet him out front. Joan thanks him softly before slipping back into her seat with a sigh to wait for their dinner. But sometime later, Joan sits in the back of the car at the motel, with Linda parked right in front of her in the passenger seat. Smoke rises from the exhaust, surrounding the vehicle on all sides in the cold night, the women sitting silently as they wait for Bill. But without looking back, Linda breaks the silence, asking, "What did he tell you? Did he tell you about our daughter?" When Joan doesn't answer, Linda continues, "When he told you about our daughter, he said, 'have,' didn't he?" She glances over her shoulder at Joan, quoting Bill in a whisper, "We have a daughter." Joan lowers her eyes to the floor as Linda understands that Bill told Joan that she reminded him of Rose, asking if he actually said that to her. When Joan doesn't respond, Linda assures her that it's okay, offering a sympathetic, "Poor thing." She says that Bill tries to say that to everyone, but of course she doesn't see it. Of course it isn't true. But she says that sometimes she herself tries. Linda shares a story about one of those times. She was at the supermarket alone, and she was standing in the middle of a long aisle by herself. A girl came around the corner, looking at a low shelf for something. She was about 15, and she had her money held tightly in her hand like children do. Linda stares off into this memory, noting that she guesses school had gone back already. The weather had turned cold, and she was just there in her uniform skirt and sneakers with no socks. She remembers the girl's knees were pink, almost red from the cold, denoting her innocence and carefree ignorance. Linda's voice, almost a whisper now, recalls the girl's hair, pulled back in a ponytail, revealing the roots over her ears. The score trembles around Linda as she exhales a sharp breath, returning to this moment, right here, right now, cutting her eyes to Joan as she assesses. "You don't look anything like her." Joan's eyes meet Linda's as the score builds ominously, Linda concluding that it's strange. She can't see Joan at all. But the women are interrupted when Bill returns, settling into the driver's seat and closing the door. What a powerful monologue and a tragic performance.
Yeah.
My note is that the monologue was powerful and sad.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of monologues. This one was like, you can't tear your eyes away from it, but it hurts. Like, it's so raw and sad. I saw that Osgood Perkins had said that he was listening to her deliver the monologue in another car, but the wind was so loud that her voice was so low he could barely hear her. So the note that he gave her was to turn and face Joan as she's giving the monologue, and then when Bill comes back, to just look up front. And so he was like, do it twice, and then we'll come and talk about it, and then you can do it 2 more times, because he can't hear really or see her.
Yeah.
So he was like, that he thinks that they used the very first one that she did because she just understood it. And he said it was so sad that when she was a kid, her family had suffered a really terrible loss, and that she said that she saw how it impacted her mother, and that on Monday her mother was one person, and then Tuesday she was somebody completely different. And she was like, to give this monologue, I'll play my mom on that Tuesday. And it like made my stomach sink.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It's very sad. It was just, there's not really much else to say.
No,
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking.
It is.
And then you think about what we've just learned and what we can kind of infer.
About Joan?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah,
God
yeah.
damn it. Like, haven't we been through enough? Like, it's so terrible. It's just so terrible.
But the cold morning arrives briskly at Bramford, and we spy the empty halls and classrooms, the liminal spaces left behind in the student's absence. Perkins mentioned something very interesting on commentary.
Mm-hmm.
He explained that for this entire time so far within the film, like we discussed, it's been this illusion that it is all happening on the same night.
Yeah.
But now that we know that it isn't, and that whatever's going on with Joan and Bill and Linda is 9 years later, we don't have to stay night and night. We can go to the daytime while it remains night with Joan.
True, yeah.
Because it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
But Rose awakens in the sunlight of her room, somehow having actually slept the night before. I don't know how. But the memory of her strange evening finds her as she rests ponderously against her pillow. But when she steps out into the hall, she finds Kat standing there on the telephone, her conversation reaching its conclusion as the receiver clatters back onto the hook. Rose wonders what Kat's parents told her on the phone, but Kat creeps her way closer, offering cryptically, "He said it's all right." Rose is confused. What's all right? Who says? Kat intones, "He says I can't live here, but I can, with him." Rose wonders, who is he? And as an eerie score rises, Kat responds, "You know who." I do?
Yeah.
Kat, you're scaring your mother.
When Rose doesn't seem to follow, Kat scoffs. "Mr. Gordon, silly. He's the headmaster?" But Kat inches her way closer to Rose, standing right across from her as she looks her up and down, and with a smile, she remarks once more, "You smell pretty." Rose just stands there uneasily without a word. She could say thank you. It's a very kind
It is.
compliment.
It's actually one of my favorite compliments to
It's
get.
very
but
sweet.
But I don't want it like this.
No.
Well, it's couched in a lot of horror, but it's pretty cool. But the two young women return to the nuns' quarters for breakfast, Rose rifling through a drawer in the kitchen, past several sharp pieces of cutlery to snag a serving spoon and join the others at the dining table.
Maybe take a knife too.
Mrs. Drake and Mrs. Prescott bow their heads in prayer with Rose, but as they recite their gratitude to the Lord for the meal they're about to receive, Kat's weary eyes stare half-lidded right next to her at Rose. Mrs. Prescott takes notice of this, calling out to Kat, who snaps out of her stare with a polite, "Yes, ma'am?" Mrs. Prescott asks if there's something wrong. "No, ma'am." Rose glances worriedly at the nuns. It's like, can somebody else see this? This is fucking weird. Please. But Mrs. Prescott directs Kat to kindly repeat grace with the rest of them. Kat whispers, "Dear Lord, thank you for this meal that you've placed in front of us." But she can hardly continue through her scoffs and clear disdain for the words she's speaking. Mrs. Prescott scolds her sharply, Kat smirking as she rises from her seat, presiding over everyone, and clearly not concealing liquid in her mouth.
Yeah.
We all saw it.
Yeah.
And suddenly, to the surprise of everyone, Kat becomes violently ill, milky white bile bursting from her lips as she doubles over, Rose clasping a hand over her shocked mouth as the nuns rush and tend to Kat. They all retreat to the nurse's office in the other room, where Kat sits on the edge of the examination table, Mrs. Prescott brushing the blonde hair from the pale skin of Kat's forehead. Rose stands nearby, asking if Kat is okay. And for some unknown reason, not at all backed up by science or reason, Mrs. Prescott says that she is.
I'm no doctor, but I'm going to have to disagree. She looks terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Osgood Perkins said that they actually had prosthetics made for Karen and Shipka. I'm assuming it would be in this area here. But he said that they put them on and everything. And he was like, that her performance was so strong that he felt like the prosthetics detracted from it.
Okay.
He was like, it just needs to be you. And like, obviously there's some makeup. She looks pretty haggard. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that's a good call because we've already kind of taken it to some extremes. And I think that we get it. Like,
Yeah. We understand.
I don't know what the prosthetics were, but we don't need them.
No.
This is more than enough.
That'd be too much.
And even
Yeah,
looking at her like this for the nurse to be like, she's fine. It's like, no, she's not.
No, it works. Her just like that. That
For
works.
sure.
But Rose then asks if Mr. Gordon called the school today, prompting Mrs. Prescott to wonder, why on earth would the headmaster call here? Well, it is his school.
Because he's the headmaster.
Yeah.
But Rose supposes that he called to say that Kat's parents were all right. And somewhat offended that there could be any other line of thinking, Mrs. Prescott asserts, of course they're all right, and Catherine is all right as well. Mrs. Drake approaches Kat, bringing her medicine and a drink of water. But when Kat refuses to take it from her, Mrs. Drake reaches for her hands so she will. But Kat jerks her hands away, her voice vulgar and doubled as she curses. "Get your hands off of me, cunt."
Yeah. Things got serious.
We're really just letting it all hang out. That's the point.
Rose is like, do you see?
Yeah.
She's been doing this shit all night.
Rose and the nuns gasp as Kat stares at the three of them through red-ringed eyes. The stunned silence is broken by the ringing telephone in the other room, and Mrs. Prescott has to call out to Mrs. Drake so that she'll go and answer it. As Mrs. Drake steps out of the room, Mrs. Prescott admonishes Kat, telling her that she ought to be ashamed of herself. She orders, "You'll look at me when I'm talking to you." But Kat's eyes flutter over to the emptiness of the doorway in front of her, Rose looking on nervously as Mrs. Prescott exits the room. Kat whispers that he really did say he'd come, assuring Rose that he'll come and he'll say that he was wrong. But Rose peers past the dining room and into the den, where Mrs. Drake rushes off at the telephone, clearly shaken by the call she's just received, and doing her best to relay the troubling news to Mrs. Prescott. Kat adds, "This time, he'll say that I can live here. He's the headmaster." Rose's eyes dart from Kat to the nuns, who stand silently in the other room, staring at her, seeming to beckon her over to them. I will say, again with the editing, because we saw them all in a frenzy talking to each other, and we look at Kat and we look back at the nuns and they're staring directly at Rose,
Yeah.
I about shit myself. I was like, oh my God, I can't handle this. But when Rose joins them in the other room, Mrs. Prescott's voice trembles a request, kindly asking Rose to shovel the path between the houses, to shovel it down to the earth. Rose is shocked. Me? What did I do? But Mrs. Prescott is insistent, sharing sternly that Mr. Gordon will be here this afternoon. And with this, Rose understands that something must definitely be wrong. She asks the nuns what happened, but Mrs. Prescott just repeats her order. Down to the earth, please. The shot lingers on Kat in the other room, her eyes welling with tears as the score hums ominously.
It did make me laugh that she thought that it was a punishment.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't call you that.
I didn't do fucking shit. It's just like, dude, there's clearly more happening.
Yeah. Yeah, but I still don't want to go shovel.
No.
But outside, Rose does as told, working diligently in her winter coat to shovel the walkway out front. Time passes, the surrounding birds her only company during her tedious task. But suddenly, inside, a needle scratches against a record, an ominous organ oscillating from the speakers and capturing Rose's attention. She ascends the porch, reaching for the screen to open the door, but discovering it to be locked. I just wanted to say something about the sound of this organ is like the coolest thing that I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me a lot of Carnival of Souls.
Okay.
And it really made me happy.
Yeah.
But Rose leans down to peer through the windows, unable to see anything or anyone inside. And with that, she retreats from the nuns' quarters all the way back to the dormitories, making her way to her room, taking down her hair, and resting in bed. This made me laugh out loud because she's like, well, you're on your own.
Yeah, well.
I did my part.
Yeah. It was down to there?
I did it.
I'm just like, what day is today? Because your parents are supposed to come Friday. So I'm like, I'm not leaving my room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Things are going very bad very quickly.
But outside, a police cruiser pulls up to park in front of one of the red brick buildings on campus. Out of the passenger seat climbs Mr. Gordon, meeting a ranger, played by Matthew Steffiak, who steps out of the driver's seat on the other side. The ranger checks in on Gordon, asking if he's all right, and Gordon assures him that he is, guiding the ranger over to the nuns' quarters where he says everyone should be. But when he climbs the porch, he discovers the door to be locked, just as Rose did, and we spy him through the opaque glass of the door as Gordon knocks on it. The needle of the record player scratches the dead wax, crackling through the speakers as the camera pans through the den to follow Gordon and the ranger's path around to the other side of the house. But when we meet them in the kitchen, the pair making their way through the open back door, we settle on the blood-stained door frame through which Gordon enters the room, the headmaster throwing his hand over his frightened mouth when he discovers a gruesome sight before him, which we are yet to witness. We dip to black.
Is it safe to say what we're all assuming, or I'm guessing? I don't know. Right?
I would say that's fine.
The cat got him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. The cat's out of the bag. But I love this, even though we know it's still kind of a mystery as to what exactly happened.
Right.
So it's like, once we do see, it is just unbelievably brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets up, because again, we haven't seen really anything like this at all.
Yeah.
And so the first bit of blood that we see, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But when we fade back in, we're resting in a low angle beneath Kat, who sits at her desk in class, peering out of the window, and in a wide shot, students surrounding her, her name appears in cyan against the dark fabric of her school uniform. Kat. We return to the morning after her nightmare, when Kat climbed out of bed to mark through February 21st in red marker, tears filling her eyes as she stared at the red ink anticipating the arrival of her parents. We then suddenly creep through the darkness of the communal bathroom, where Kat rests in the warm water of a tub, her bare feet resting against the porcelain. But we pan over to another stall, a sinister, horned reflection cast into the pale blue tiles, a ghastly whisper pervading the area, as the figure raises its hand beneath its long, dark cloak. So this is a very startling sight.
Mm-hmm.
The person in the bath with the feet on the tub is a sight that we have seen before.
Yeah.
Now we finally have context for it. The other thing about this, it's the devil. I was trying to be, but it's the devil. They had said that the influence of how to shoot this figure was, interestingly, Jaws.
Okay.
Perkins said, never show this thing head on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Never show it in full focus. Never show it to where you can figure out exactly what it looks like completely.
Okay.
And I think that it's a really successful choice. He said that he felt sorry for the guy wearing the costume because he had to wear this heavy-ass thing
Yeah.
the entire time for them to film it, and it never really shows on screen.
Right.
But I think that that is the best way to go about it.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
So this is where I'm like, long legs?
Yeah. It's so reminiscent.
Yes.
So I see how people are making this connection.
Mm-hmm.
But after her bath, Kat exits the washroom and into the hall, popping 2 quarters into the payphone to dial out. After a few rings, the call is answered, though nothing but static greets her initially as she calls out, "Mommy? Dad?" But through the crackling static rises a deep, distorted voice. "Hi, baby girl." The score drones as it continues. "Catherine?" Kat pleads to know who she's talking to, but the voice intones, "They're not coming," before giving the order, "Kill the cunts."
All right, Dad. Thank you for calling.
Like, what do you pick me up after?
Yeah. It's always nice to hear from you.
Yeah.
A confused Kat hangs up the receiver, the camera pressing in on her down the long hall as she stands silhouetted in front of the phone. And again, so the shot that we saw earlier of Joan at the bus station,
Yeah.
it's identical to when Kat is using the phone right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Something very interesting about the person who provided the voice of the devil in this film. Perkins said that it was a lifelong friend of his named Paul Jasmine. And the very interesting thing about it is there were 4 people who voiced Mother in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho: Virginia Gregg, Jeanette Nolan, Anthony Perkins, and Paul Jasmine.
No.
Whoa.
Okay.
And so he said that they did a lot of work in post, like distortion and changing some of the pitch of his voice. He said, but if you just listen to the dry audio of Paul Jasmine's recording, Kat is talking to Mother.
That's
Okay.
wild.
But on the last day before the break, we float through the crowded cafeteria, lingering for a moment on Rose at her table, the young woman clearly preoccupied by her rather pertinent predicament. But when we find Kat through the crowd, she sits despondent, her hands clasped at the edge of her breakfast tray. And just before her recital, Kat stands stoic backstage, passed by several classmates, as she stares up at the billowing beige curtain in front of her, her eyes tearful and gazing up at a staggering height with great wonder. Once she takes to the stage, she seems to collapse into the piano bench, as if settled into it by a strong, unseen hand. And in the night, when Rose regaled her with the urban legend of the nuns actually being hairless witches in service of the devil, Kat leans against the doorframe in the dark hall, the darkness of the corridor wider in the frame behind her. But as Rose spins her yarn, we realize that Kat wasn't reacting to what she was being told. And as tears rise within her eyes and Rose's voice begins to warp within Kat's mind, we pan past Kat's shoulders to peer deeper into Rose's bedroom, and in a blur behind her rests the towering figure, a horned shadow, omnipresent. And as the score mounts in an unsettling manner, Rose concludes her story. She walked in on them one night, worshipping the devil. There is more to come, but this is just top tier work.
It really is.
Like, I love how we're recontextualizing everything.
Yeah.
And some of the weirder reactions that we saw, it's like, holy shit.
It's that because there are so many moments that feel just off. And then it's like, oh, okay. That's why you looked like that. That's why you were acting like that.
But when Rose departs the Bramford school with Rick, Kat breaks Rose's rule and re-enters her bedroom, admiring her school picture with a caress of her thumb, the photograph cropped at Rose's shoulder through the small window of its paper folder. Foreshadowing?
Ah.
But when the phone rings in the hall, a percussive echo accompanies Kat's trembling trek to answer it, her nervous hand hesitating a moment before reaching for the receiver. Holding it to her ear, she offers a soft, "Hi." And the voice responds in its deep distortion through static. "You can stay here with me." And we watch as Kat descends the stairs, finding her way through the dark and toward the boiler room. But the following morning in the nuns' quarters, Mrs. Prescott lies on the carpet in the den in a pool of her own blood, a gaping wound at her throat, her haunted eyes attempting to make sense of what's happened to her. The score drones as Kat marches pale and barefoot through the room, past the crawling and barely alive Mrs. Drake, and up the stairs to seize a pair of pillowcases from the bed of one of the nuns. The vile voice of the devil crackles in Kat's memory as she descends the steps into the den, and we watch as the night before, Kat peers through the dingy glass of the boiler room's door. But in the morning light, Kat stands blurry above the gasping Mrs. Drake, kneeling before her with a knife clenched tightly in her red right hand. Without a word or emotion, Kat brings the blade down into the spine of the nun, again and again, the knife squelching through flesh and blood over and over until Mrs. Drake lies still on the living room floor. We dip to black.
Excellent form.
No notes?
That was great. I really enjoyed that. That was kind of what I was waiting for. And we know she's a demon now, but it's like, okay, what are we going to do with the demon or devil or whatever? It's like, where do we go from here?
And again, you're like, okay, well, she has killed them.
Yeah.
And that's bad enough.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it really is like, what is the next step?
Yeah.
But we return to find Rose taking her seat for picture day, striking a proper pose in front of the bright blue backdrop, her smile, the sunlight, and the sky. But after the picture is snapped, the sun begins to set, and Rose's smile slips away from her, buried beneath the weight of her thoughts. But that morning, Rose awakens in her bed after shoveling the driveway, rolling out of it to walk over to the mirror at her vanity. She stands before it, her hands on her belly, turning to view her profile and imagining what awaits her in the months ahead. But she gathers her things, clad in a bright blue robe, to head down the hall for the washroom. And there, in a stall, in a seat on the toilet, Rose reaches for tissue, only for relief to find her warmly when she realizes that her period has arrived. She rejoices, but her small celebration is short-lived when the door to the washroom creaks open and closed. Rose calls out, assuming it to be Kat, but when she rises from her seat in the stall, we follow her search through bathroom mirrors, realizing that there's no one in sight. Rose then exits out into the hall, her slow steps carrying her past the payphone and through the double doors at the end of the corridor. She glances down the steps, discovering a pair of pillowcases resting by the door, soaked crimson with blood and leaking across the tiles. Rose seals her frightful gasp with her palm, retreating backward through the door and into the dark hall of the dormitory. As the door creaks closed, she peers into the darkened distance, but from a nearby room marches Kat, her blade clenched sharp in her fist and finding a home for it in Rose's stomach. The score sizzles dramatically as Rose is stabbed repeatedly, her scream muted by her shock as she attempts to break away and make her way to the door. But before she can escape, Kat brings the knife down into her spine again and again, leaving Rose to clatter to the floor in a trembling, bleeding heap. Kat stands in awe of the air around her, a sick smile settling on her face as Rose's life slips away from her. She returns to Rose's body, kneeling at her side to survey her for a moment, before reaching for a handful of Rose's long dark hair, lifting her up. We hover at the crest on the chest of Kat's Bramford School sweatshirt, the head of a golden-haired woman at the center of it, and the score whines as Kat slowly extends the blade of the knife above Rose's pale throat, and we fade to black.
God damn, dude.
Brutal.
Yeah.
So brutal and abrupt.
Yeah.
Because you almost, I mean, obviously we know she's not going to get away, but you don't think that she's going to see this turn and then immediately get killed.
No.
It's so abrupt.
And the thing is, of course, with what we know in the present day, we know that she's dead.
Yeah.
But knowing and witnessing.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was that.
Yeah.
Seeing what happened.
And I did appreciate the restraint of not showing the decapitation, which we know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have this kind of subtle foreshadowing through the crest on the sweatshirt
Yeah.
of this head.
Yeah.
And even Perkins had said that the Latin underneath the crest, it translates to "she bows down,"
God
Okay.
damn.
which is also very creepy.
Yeah.
But this, again, is just so gruesome.
Mhm.
And I love as well because there are some moments here, like when she just breaks out of the room and kind of attacks her.
Yeah.
It feels like a slasher film.
Yeah.
Even the music, it kind of mimics what you would expect in a slasher.
Mm-hmm. And I think even like you were saying, we don't see the head get cut off, but we don't need to.
Exactly.
Like, we don't need to. The attack was enough, and leaving us with the fade to black before was fine.
But Gordon and the ranger arrive at the nuns' quarters, and after failing to gain access through the front door, Gordon unlocks the back door, entering the house with the officer, the needle dragging against the dead wax of the record inside as they creep their way towards a horrifying discovery. But we follow twin trails of blood through the morning snow, gliding over them, as the ranger retreats to the dormitories, startled by the mess that Kat has left behind. He arms himself, his weapon leading him down into the basement, through a long corridor and into the boiler room, but he freezes at the sight before him, shuddering. Jesus Christ. Kat kneels on her knees before the glowing fire of the furnace, and planted firmly on the concrete floor next to her is her offering. 3 severed heads resting in a pool of blood, her victims and her sacrifice, Mrs. Prescott, Mrs. Drake, and Rose. The ranger's voice distorts as he raises his weapon, ordering Kat to drop the knife that she still holds in her hand. He stammers his directives as Kat rises to her feet, turning to face him. His panicked breaths belie his fear and urgency as he orders, "Drop the knife, goddammit! This is your last warning! I will shoot you!" But the pale-faced Kat stands stoic, her arms slowly raised from her side and above her head as the score grows frenzied, and she declares, "Hail Satan." She lets loose an otherworldly shriek, and the ranger pulls the trigger.
At least she stood on her beliefs till the end.
That is accurate.
10 toes down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did.
And again, we're talking about, I know obviously this isn't like, I can't believe Perkins invented Hail Satan.
No, yeah.
But long legs.
Yeah.
It's so prominently and so important
Yes.
to that story too.
Mm-hmm.
But we suddenly glide above the car carrying Joan, Bill, and Linda down the wintry road, a sign to their right broadcasting that it's only 3 miles to Bramford. Joan sits silently in the back seat, but Linda turns to her husband, asking, "Did you tell her? Did you tell her all about it?" Bill pleads, "Please, Linda." But she persists. "When you meet these people, do you say that she was murdered?" She asks if he tells them that when Rose was found, they had to do a blood test to see if her head matched her body. Bill is hurt enough, but when he reaches a comforting hand to his wife, Linda refuses it sharply. Joan's nervous hands ring the hem of her purse, finally finding the courage to speak up, asking, "Can you pull over? I think I'm gonna be sick." Bill heeds her call immediately against Linda's fervent protests, demanding that Bill just keep driving, insisting that they can't stop here. But Bill calmly veers off to the side of the road, parking at the edge of a snowbank. And suddenly, without word or warning, Joan lurches up from her seat, reaching the blade of a steak knife to Bill's throat and dragging it through the flesh of his neck. As he bleeds out, Joan directs her vicious attack to Linda, frantic and frenzied stabs piercing the poor woman again and again until she slumps over dead. The blood-covered Joan retches in the back seat before collecting herself and reaching for a handful of Bill's hair. She rests the serrated edge of the blade against his throat and begins to saw.
Man.
That was crazy.
Very crazy, dude. I don't know what I expected, honestly, when she was eyeing that knife in the restaurant. It's like, oh, fuck.
I kind of, on the cool, I kind of forgot about it. And then when we got here, and then she was like, let me out. I was like, wait. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then when she did attack him, I was like, oh, that's right. You stole that fucking steak knife.
She sure did.
And knowing now that Bill and Linda are just good people.
Yeah.
Who suffered a terrible loss.
Mm-hmm.
At the hands of her?
Yes.
I did see Osgood Perkins had said that it was so cold that the blood was freezing. So they only had one chance when she's attacking and the blood like shoots up at her.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that somebody was on the floor with the bottle of the blood and he kind of was like, okay, let her do it for this long and then squeeze it up.
Yeah.
But he can't see anything because he's down at the bottom. So he squirts the blood up. The guy squirts the blood up and it lands perfectly up the center of her face. They said that he said it wasn't intentional. It couldn't be intentional because he couldn't even see what he was doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, the imagery is very striking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just by coincidence. There's that word.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But yeah, I thought that was wild. But it's so cold, the blood is freezing.
Yeah. Damn.
But a short time later, Joan steps out of the car, opening up the trunk to retrieve an empty suitcase. She collects Bill and Linda's heads, dropping them wetly onto the fabric lining of the suitcase and clasping it closed. She trades her borrowed pea coat for her maroon leather jacket and attempts to clean herself up, even seeming to apply a bit of blush to her cheeks, hoping to look her best for her upcoming reunion. The score drones a dull roar as we dip to black, and when we return, we find Kat resting in a hospital bed, all alone beneath the bright morning light of the window. But through blue curtains walks the returning Father Brian, a small black box clutched in his hand as he enters the room with a smile. He offers, "Catherine?" approaching the bedside of the young girl and placing a comforting hand on her forehead. Kat appears worried, but only for a mere moment, before her dark eyes pierce a stare through the priest as a sinister smile stretches across her lips. Father Brian responds, "There you are." I don't know why, but just the calmness of that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like he was awaiting it and he knew that it was true.
Yeah.
And he's like, slip this facade and show me.
Yeah.
Well, because he's like, she was acting weird as hell.
Yeah. I shouldn't have gone to Albany.
I shouldn't have gone to Albany. The steamed hams could have waited.
But his gentle hand resting on the top of her head, he continues, "You are not wanted here." Drawing his hand back to clutch the binding of the box he carries, he calmly asserts, "You will go from this place. You will leave here. You will leave this poor girl, and you will never come back." But we find Joan on her long trek through the evening snow, carrying her heavy suitcase through the gates of the Bramford school. As she reaches the boarded-up door of the dormitory, she peers down at the shattered glass of a framed photo of Rose, her sunlit smile beneath splinters. But Joan continues onward. Back in the past, Father Brian prepares Kat for her exorcism, opening the small box to retrieve a little black Bible, offering it a kiss, along with a crucifix and a small vial of holy water, which he rests on a pristine white cloth in front of him. But Joan has made her way inside, and through the shadows of the corridor, Father Brian's voice echoing in her memory as he commands the demon to leave this place, commanding that it goes out. Kat rests before him, her wrists bound to her hospital bed, writhing against her bindings as she's sprinkled with holy water. She suddenly rises beneath her blankets, her body lifting upward, only to sink down to her mattress as Father Brian shouts, "By the power of Christ, I command you to leave this girl and never come back." Kat glances over to the window near to her, where before the billowing blue curtains stands the shadowy horned figure in a blur. Her cheeks streaked with tears and holy water, she begs, "Don't go." But in an instant, the dark figure disappears.
I think that we are used to seeing like really intense and dramatic exorcism scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one was like comparatively kind of understated, which I did appreciate, but at the same time I was surprised that the demon was like, all right, man, or the devil or whatever. Okay, all right, I'm going.
It was easy.
Yeah.
That was easy. I mean, I guess he's like a high level healer or something. So, but I didn't mind it because I guess it is what he was saying. You can't be here. You got to go, whatever. And even that, hey, I did what I needed
I had
to
my
do.
fun.
Peace.
Yeah. And it like the easiness with which it left misled me for what is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because this whole time I thought something else was happening.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
Perkins had said that the whole point of this exorcism scene was just to acknowledge that it had happened. He said, we do it and we move on because this isn't the point.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, like you're saying, that is the wise way to go about it.
Yeah.
But down in the boiler room, Joan flicks the small flame of her lighter, guiding her way inside, discovering the unlit furnace at the far end of the room. She reaches for the grate, drawing her hand back from its cold metal before returning to it, realizing that the warmth she once felt there is never to return again. So, something interesting Perkins had said about her name, this alias being Joan to begin with, is meant to be a reference, and I know Jules will love this, to Joan of Arc.
Okay.
Because it's meant to signify the pilgrimage that Kat has been on since she escaped the hospital, the communication that she's always had with a higher power, and her quest to become connected to it again.
Okay.
So not Joan from Mad Men.
No.
Okay.
Although, I mean, we had Sally Draper.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's fine.
Joan also went on a journey.
I was going to say, didn't she get swallowed by a whale as well? Or is that a different...
But she departs, braving the cold winter morning and descending down an empty road lined with snow. She stands all alone at its center, and burdened beneath the weight of her guilt and faced with her eternal abandonment. Her body racks with sobs as a wailing cry escapes from the depths of her soul. We fade to black, and the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of The Blackcoat's Daughter?
That was a good movie. I had a lot of fun talking about it. Like I said up top, I know it's not, my, kind of in my wheelhouse of movies that I watch a lot, but I can admit talking about it, I did enjoy the movie a little more, kind of, what I mean? Enjoyed a lot talking about it. I think it is just the bleak and sadness of certain things that happen. And like you stated a minute ago, T, that the possession was kind of more in the background. You know what I mean? It's just something that happens. Not that we need to get past it, but I did feel that. You know what I mean? And then the ending is very sad. The monologue is great in the car, but it's very sad. Like, it is those things for me that were just kind of like, all right, can we see the demon again and have fun? Like, I don't want to be sad and cold. Because we're in the snow.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, but again, the movie looks really fucking good. Like, it looks good. Like you said, the music, everybody does what they're supposed to do. It is just it being about her loneliness, wanting that family and not having it. The devil or demon being that comfort, and her never being able to get it back. And afterwards, like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, damn, so you kill these people on your own?
Yeah.
Trying to, like, I guess, get the spark back or trying to whatever. And it's fucking very sad, because it's like you went and tried to do this to, like, look, man, hey, check it out. I'm doing it, and nothing. And it was just like, oh, I'm sad now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what because when it ended, I was like, oh, it just got what it wanted and then left. Or I'm like, I'm so confused, because I thought that it had come back, and that's why she's doing this. And then I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh no, she was trying to get it to come back.
Yeah.
That's devastating. And then crossing paths with this poor couple that's already lost so much, and this man is trying to help her, and she's like, okay, these are the two that I'm like, it's really fucking sad. And it is just that, because it's like, yeah, she did kill the second set of people on her own.
Yeah.
It could be argued that she was being puppeted for the first three, but these she did on her own.
Yeah.
But it's also like, she's such a tragic character that it's like not okay and not justified, but you see this fucking tragic ass thought process that was all she had, and she asked it not to go, and it did.
Yeah.
And this is the only way that she can think to bring it back. This semblance of belonging, of family, of anything, warmth. It's fucking sad.
Yeah.
I liked it when I watched it. Like I said, it is like kind of been living in my head since I did. And then talking about it, like you said, John Paul, I appreciate it even more, because it's just such this, like, and for the short runtime, it's like, dude, we went through a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions, a lot of, is this happening? No, is this happening? Is that happening? Is he bad? Is he good? Like, just, it is a roller coaster, and still manages to be this, like, creeping slow burn. I don't know. It's a really fucking sad and good and bleak movie, and I liked it a lot, and I'm sad.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I think that what's just so unbelievable about it is, even in the end, there's a part of you that does sympathize with her.
Yeah.
You feel so bad. And then when she is just so broken in the middle of that wintry road, I couldn't help but feel emotional.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like she didn't ask for any of
No.
this.
Yeah.
Like,
she's completely devastated and broken, and she will literally never find that connection again. And it's just like, I don't know. And it's also sad because Bill did extend such kindness to her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't it.
And you know what's fucking devastating is, like, they lost a daughter and she lost her parents.
Yes, they're both. It's, oh my
They
God.
both have
It's
this
just-
void.
Yeah.
Not that they could have filled with each other, but that they could have found comfort within each
Yes.
other. Like, it's like, dude, like, like, it's so, it's just not fair.
It could have been a much different film.
Yeah.
And it instead turns out to be one of the bleakest endings I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that this is really just a testament to how important it is to go back and revisit these films that maybe you didn't vibe with the first time around.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't. I didn't really take into account all that this film was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just looked at it the first time almost as like this thing that was technically impressive. And I appreciated those aspects of it. But now, rewatching it, writing the script, researching it, you see the depth of it.
Yeah.
And it really is just like, it's an incredible thing and it's very special.
Mm-hmm.
And at the core of it is a very personal thing that Osgood Perkins is trying to explore.
Yeah.
The loss of parents, the loss of people you love, and what comes after. And for Kat, it's just the most tragic thing ever to come after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we can probably just slide into ratings.
Yeah.
I don't think that I can say enough about this film, and I've watched it twice in preparation for this episode, each time liking it more than the last time, and then the time spent away from it just thinking about it, liking it even more than when I had watched it.
Okay.
And I feel like that is it's a special quality that some films have where they just continue to grow on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think that there is something, and that's the other thing. This film is bleak as hell.
Yeah.
Yet somehow, through this wintry atmosphere, it is so comfortable. Like, I feel so good watching it, even though it's so sad and so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so brutal and just gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I can see myself very easily returning to this film every single winter.
Okay.
But I don't know. There's just something really, really special about it. I can't say enough about the cinematography, the way that it reveals so much in certain moments and leaves a puzzle to be solved in others.
Yeah.
The score is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It is so incredible. I think I'm going to download it after we finish recording this. There is just something so impressive about it. And just seeing these two brothers working together and creating something so original and so perfectly melded between their two talents.
Yeah.
I can't say enough for it. And the performances.
Yes.
I really, really was impressed by what everybody did here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody did such remarkable work and pulled off something that is very difficult. Kiernan Shipka did not have an easy job ahead of her.
No.
And she plays these moments that are so peculiar at first, and then when they're recontextualized later, they all make perfect sense.
Yeah.
The film is trying to tell you something the entire time, and they're never lying to you. They're never cheating you.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really incredible. But poor Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn. I really liked her character, and I liked a lot of what she brought to the table. And maybe that's the thing, to see this young life snuffed out.
Yeah.
Maybe that is what it's to do, to unnerve you, to upset you, and to break your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think I can say enough about this film. I am blown away, really.
Okay.
And I really liked Long Legs. I didn't care for the monkey. I have yet to see Keeper, and I have yet to see I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. A little less 16 Candles.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, I feel like I understand Osgood Perkins' sensibilities a little bit more.
Okay.
Rewatching this film and diving into it.
Yeah.
And it makes me even more intrigued to maybe dive a little deeper into his films upcoming and the films that I've already seen.
Okay.
So for me, and again, this is a shock to me because I did not anticipate this when we put this on our schedule. I didn't anticipate it even when I watched it again. But out of 10 awfully ominous offerings, I personally, for me, I have no choice but to give The Blackcoat's Daughter 10 awfully ominous offerings out of 10. I do not know anything that I would change about this film.
Okay.
I think that it works so well for me that it is just one that is staggeringly brilliant to me.
Yeah.
But I will now open the floor to you.
No, yeah, I'm a little the other way. I enjoy monkeys that have long legs. But no, I again, I can understand all the things you said are true about the movie. For me, I enjoyed a lot of it. Rose was just living her life, doing what she did, and we're watching. That was the strength for me of the movie, where we do get her, and I know we get other people as well, but she's just there. She's going through some shit that she's going through as a young lady, as a teenager, and it's like, dude, it isn't easy shit. But again, like you said, we're not drawing attention to it now, whatever. It's just happening.
Yeah.
And then shit just gets bad. And then it gets worse. Then it gets even more, you know what I mean? It's like, God damn. But I think when I'm looking forward to the kills to bring me out of this funk that everything else is putting me in, it did kind of hurt the movie for me to look for that, because it is bleak, it is sad, and then it's like, God damn, I need something to pep me up. Oh, go stab that person. Okay, I feel better. It is just like, it's like, damn. But it does look pretty. Again, like I said, everything you said, it's really good. It's just not something that I would throw in my rotation because of it. That being the focal point is the loneliness, the sadness, the tragedy that's happening to these people and everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I did enjoy when Kat was like, again, it's like, oh no, you're possessed. It's like, I know you're being evil. That was cool. You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff that they did was really good. I would recommend anybody to watch it and then kind of, you know what I mean, see how you feel. For me, this just, not one of the ones that I'm into, but I'm going to give an extra 0.5 to my score because I had a lot of fun talking about it. And I had a really good time going through the movie and hearing what you guys thought and kind of, you know what I mean? I was like, okay. And I know that we had a lot of the same ideas, you know what I mean? But it is like, okay, so we all came to that same conclusion, in the same parts of the movie. So it wasn't just me, you know what I mean, thinking of it different, being like, no, we are all just kind of confused and we're all just going on the ride together. And it having that effect, it's like, okay, you did a good job. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. But for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, awfully ominous offerings, I'm going to give the Blackcoat's Daughter a 7 out of 10 awfully ominous offerings. Again, this isn't something that this is part of my wheelhouse. This isn't, my bag. It's too pretty for me. I you know what I mean? But it was sad. Mix that with the bleak. I was like, oh man, somebody throw a trash can at me or something. I was like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, I get it. I know that bleak isn't really your bag.
Yeah.
I am a bleak bitch on the other hand. And I do like kind of at times watching films where I'm just wallowing a little bit. And this was definitely a wallow film. There are parts where I'm like, oh, this is like kind of painfully sad. Like I've gotten more than I bargained for a little bit. But I think that the way that the story is told, and I'm a sucker for a non-linear, story. I think that that's really cool. I love being confused when the payoff is worth it. And that was definitely the case with this one. There was, I would say almost the majority of the movie, I'm like, what the fuck am I missing?
Yeah.
But it all falls into place if you just stop fucking asking questions and let it fall into place. That's my problem. But I think that it's kind of almost like a simple story that's being told. It's just the way that it's being told is exceptional and sad and relatable in aspects of just the yearning for connection. I'm sure most people have felt that way at some point in their lives. And it's just so sad for this to happen to this young lady who didn't ask for anything, didn't invite anything, she doesn't deserve it, but it has turned her into a monster as well.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair. It's unfair to her. It's unfair to Bill and Linda. It's unfair to Rose. It's unfair to those weird and kind of mean nuns. Yeah. It's really
from a different era.
From a different era. Might be ghosts. It's really not fair to anyone. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you even removing yourself from the bleakness and the sadness that is grounded in very real feelings of loneliness and isolation and grief, just the, supernatural, the imagery of those heads outside of the fur.
Yeah.
Like, it's so disturbing, the scenes of violence, because they are so sparingly used and so realistic. It's not like she stabs someone and blood goes flying up to the ceiling. Like, it's uncomfortable. And you feel this moment of like, oh, this isn't just like a killer running around and knocking people off, like to boost up a account or whatever. This is a girl that we've watched struggle with this arc of, am I pregnant? Now I got to tell this dude. Now I'm going to get rid of it. But what if I don't? But like, we've watched her go through these nights and dealing with Kat, who's being fucking weird. And we've followed her and we watch her be murdered for literally no reason. Like, it's just, it hits hard. I think so many aspects of this film hit hard. And it for me was one of those where I watch it and I'm like, oh, I mean, that was good. Wait a minute. Oh shit. That was really good. Like, it took me a minute, but I have arrived. I'm here. And on a scale from 1 to 10, awfully ominous offerings, I am going to give The Blackcoat's Daughter, or February if you're nasty, 8.5 awfully ominous offerings out of 10. I think that one day we may even go higher. But for right now, it is, I'm chewing on it, and this one was a doozy.
Yeah.
Let's go watch something fun.
Yes.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate The Blackcoat's Daughter, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at JuggaloDaddy84. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll gain access to over 250 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Pod Mortem and Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, beware of the desperation that arrives with loneliness, for when you call out into the dark, you never know what might answer. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special thank you to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo, yeah.
Excellent work. A special thank you to
Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Thomas, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhart, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Itzy M, Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G, Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J, Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O, Marissa E, Henry F, Megan M, Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Erica Morin, Tris Wynn, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A, Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E, Maggie H, Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy,
Ori 81 Boricua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez 63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J, Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K, Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanity Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H., August, Jenny May, Old School Cool, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D., Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J., Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Jason X Rules, Aaron Norman, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Chuck D., Tabitha Thomas, Connie Lingus, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, Rosalind Harnias, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H., Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L., Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M., Ghastly Grandad, Megan and Alexandra Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook, Martina LaForce, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M., Brandon C., Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renlin, Ashley Poe, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz,
Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Stu Corbett, Brick O, Jaden Nicole, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X. Bleeple, Joel Miller Apologist, Jaylene Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Renee Hart, Meg Like Sleep, Final Boy, Alani, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, Melissa B., Elena C., Jillian Munford, Evil Chris, Rex Sturm Raoul, Witchy Poop 19, Brian Avers, Danielle Milton, Instant Horror, Just Give Me One Wish Like Ray J, Skin Deep, Christian Salvatierra, Ashay Guevara, Aaron Mr. Clean Bashard, Hinny Kravitz, Francisco Olmos, Paunchy Cat, Christina Perez, Buddy Boy Mac, Revamped, a rewatch podcast, Sarah Coolidge, Show Livia, Film Fiend, Catherine Clark, Brandon Brown, Jessica Hernandez, Camry, Amy Shipley like the Donuts, Jack, Alyssa Muskites, and Jennifer Hager. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope that you know when it comes to you, there's no one better.
All right, that's cute.
It's the nicest thing I could think of here. Until next time.